It doesn't look like Against All Authority is going to try to finish this one off.
And there is the middle one going down. Are they going to finish it? No, they're not. They're going to back away because they realize, like you say, the death timers are up. So they're not going to be able to get that second inhibitor down. But nevertheless, they have that big advantage again. They didn't even take the Baron down in that fight either.
At the end of the game, I was like, stop throw, guys. We're going to lose. We're going to lose. Okay, we are losing. We are losing. We are losing. We are losing. But we won, so... I don't know. For me, I'm really anxious all the time.
It's going on to virtual, probably the worst damage to go for it. And wow, just like that, the game is over. Against All Authorities will take victory against SK Gaming. Wow, they certainly fought for it.
Beating SK is good because it gives us a lot of courage, but it's not over. Definitely not over.
What a game, and Against All Authorities finally pick up a victory against SK Gaming. And I did not see that coming because that game was crazy.
Welcome to a special early start on the second day of our European LCS weekend here live from Cologne, Germany. After some technical difficulties, we are back and ready to go. We apologize once again for the issues yesterday, and I hope you understand that it was better to let the players get some rest and start fresh today. Yesterday, we already saw EG beating Dragonborns and AAA triumphing over SK Gaming. The upside, of course, to yesterday's events is that we've got 6 top matches lined up for you today. Today, we're going to start off the day with a top matchup, Fnatic versus Evil Geniuses, followed by SK Gaming versus Dragonborns. Then on to EG versus AAA, Fnatic versus SK, Dragonborns versus AAA, and we close out the day with the Copenhagen Wolves taking on Fnatic. At our commentator's desk for our first games, we'll have Lee, D-Man Smith, and Jason Kaplan. Now, how is that cold doing, Demon?
Well, my cold's fine. It's this man here that's now getting it. We like to spread the love here in the studio.
Just think about how you spread diseases.
Yeah, you know, you love it.
You don't know what happens behind the caster's desk. The camera's not on.
We do have trousers on, ladies and gentlemen, because that's one of the questions I had in my Ask Me Anything. But nevertheless, let's talk about yesterday. So we had 2 big games to start with straight away at the top of the show. They were very good games. Evil Geniuses versus Dragonborns, pretty lively affair, but Against All Authority taking down SK Gaming. That was the game of the day. And well, of course it was, because there was only 2 of them.
And from that, I didn't know Jat's voice could go that high. I was really confused between you and him when whose voice was actually talking and some of that. But that game was really exciting. You have to give it to Nono with his Vayne play.
Well, of course, we do have Fnatic versus Evil Geniuses. That will be the first game of the day. SK Gaming versus Dragonborns. That is also going to be a pretty lively affair. Of course, this is going to be effectively a Super Sunday, I think we could call it that. But of course, we do have another 4 matches for you coming up today, and they are on your screen. It is Evil Geniuses versus Against All Authority, then Fnatic versus SK Gaming. El Clasico returns.
And following right after that, Dragonborns versus Against All Authority, and Copenhagen Wolves and Fnatic coming in right after that. And I'm curious to see if Fnatic can get revenge on the last time these 2 teams met up.
Yeah, and of course, you know, we did only have 2 games yesterday, but it does affect the standings. And you can see straight away on the table, Gambit, of course, still top of the league. They're currently over at MLG Dallas. Winning that, they're in the finals, actually. That will be happening later tonight against KT Rolls to be. I say later tonight. For us guys in Europe, it's going to be really late, but everyone in America, that's fine for them. Fnatic, they're 8-3. Can they take down Evil Geniuses again? SK Gaming, they did have a loss yesterday, which means Evil Geniuses, if they go and beat Fnatic right now, could jump ahead of them.
And then Against All Authority on the bottom side of that standings actually moved up 1 place. And after the matches today, I'm curious to see if we're going to have more shuffling happening.
Indeed, there could be all sorts of results. So you can, of course, check out all the stats, match previews, recaps, and a full match replays over at lolesports.com. And don't forget, all the previews written by our lovely casters. I say our lovely. They're not all mine.
I was going to say, I was like, don't you write them all?
My casters, mine. So we should have a lot of great games for you today, and we want to hear what you have to say about them. So let's get back over to Shox, who's going to explain how you can get in contact with us.
Thank you very much. As always, we want to hear your input on today's event and, of course, the League of Legends Championship Series. So our Twitter question for you today is, which champion has had the greatest impact on the LCS so far and why? You can tweet us your answer at LOL eSports, #LCS, and let us know what you think. Same story, of course, for any questions you may have for the casters or the people at the analyst desk. We'll respond to your tweets later in the show. Now, it's time to let our teams warm up here before they dive into the first game of the day, where Fnatic will take on the Evil Geniuses. Let's see what they can show us after this short break.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to get things underway ASAP before things go wrong again. So the first match of the day is going to be Fnatic versus Evil Geniuses. Last time they met, of course, Fnatic ran that Blitzcrank solo lane top.
Yeah, but then yesterday we did see EG. They're playing really different. We had Wicked on the analysis desk who's talking about how they're being very aggressive now. They're running more of a solo queue mentality. They're not afraid to invade the enemy jungle. So we might see a new EG forming here.
Yeah, of course, they have been on a bit of a tilt. And, you know, we had Wicked on the desk yesterday saying they're going to play it kind of like solo queue, but we'll see how it works out. Let's check out the lineups, of course, for Fnatic. It is going to be Soaz, Cyanide, Peke, Yellow Star, and N-Rated as the blue side.
And over for the Evil Geniuses, we have Wicked, Snoopy, Frog, and Yellow Pete, and Crepo.
So, of course, there are the teams, but let's check out the main players of today. For Fnatic, we think Soaz really was the key man, of course, playing that Blitzcrank. He really can play everything. And for this game, I believe we're staying with the same picks and bans, so we're expecting him to play Jace.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how well he does, because last time we really saw him playing it was at the Season 2 European Regional Qualifiers, and he played exceptionally well. I believe it was against Shen most of the time then, but we'll see how it works here. And obviously, we're probably not going to see him versus Wicked, because they don't really want to set up that 1v1 lane.
They don't allow that 1v1 lane. Of course, for Evil Genius as well, who other than the man in the middle, it is Froggen. And we talked about yesterday again, mentioning Wicked. It was great to have him on here, but he was talking about the fact that they've had to change and evolve their game. They can't rely on Froggen to just carry them through it anymore.
And the funny thing is, what champions we play in this game? Anivia. It got through it got through on the picks and bans, and he did pick it up. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of nice to see that, though, because Evil Geniuses are trying to adapt to Season 3, which completely changed a lot of things.
They're trying to keep things as they were, and there's a number of different things in this game that I think, obviously, Snoopy's been having questions. Can he pull it off again? Obviously, they picked up the win yesterday. They wanted to try and make it 2-0. Can they do it? That's the question. But, of course, every time these guys meet, there's always fireworks. So let's check out what they had to say about each other for this matchup.
Coming to the next match, we need to prepare for a lot more strange stuff. They play solid and constant for a long time in the same lineup. They build up a lot of base experience on their own, and their skill level is really high.
General Fnatic likes to split push a lot, but this time they try to group early and just end the game as fast as possible. So they're a team that can do pretty much everything. They're really good team fighting, really good split pushing.
And it's gonna be harder. They are not gonna do the same mistake. They're gonna be prepared. But I think we can beat them again. We have done it many times.
Fnatic is the worst team for me to play against personally, because their playstyle is all about split pushing. It's really annoying to play against, and you have to be all over the map at the same time, and it's really hard to keep up.
So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So, they have to change their style, and the thing is, Fnatic are kind of, they're up for that chaotic battle style that EG may be trying to move towards. So I'm not sure who this is going to favor this game. Of course, we saw 6 minutes of this match yesterday. Fnatic were 500 gold up. They think, we had it in the bag.
Yeah, game completely over at that point. But, I mean, we had Froggen during that video was mentioning Fnatic. They like to split push a lot. They like to be really aggressive. And I'm curious to see if EG is going to try to match that aggression. Because when you go against teams like Gambit, you have to, or they're going to take the game from you.
Yeah, so hopefully picks and bans will get underway in just a moment. So what are we thinking, Jason? We saw the teams yesterday. We saw how they were lining up. Again, Jace, as you mentioned, was pretty much instrumental in the Season 2 regional finals. Played a fantastic Jace against Shen. This time around, he's against...
It depends.
It's going to be a 2v1 lane, we think.
Yeah, it'd most likely be Misfortune Elise. And we did see Crepa yesterday on Elise. It actually... I don't think in the beginning it worked out too well, but as the game progressed, he was the one that opened up the fights. He was the one purposely getting caught, using that rappel to bait everyone in, even landing that cocoon for his team to engage. It worked out very well for them in the end. And then Yellow Pete, we saw him on Misfortune. We've never seen him play as aggressive as he did yesterday, and I'm curious to see if he's going to follow that up again today.
Yeah, and that's something that Wicked touched on yesterday. He was saying, you know, Pete's been trying to be more aggressive, and he really was yesterday, because I even remember it mentioning it in commentary. It's like, wow, Pete's like hitting the tower on his own without me shouting at him. He's quite happy to hit that one.
Well, Wicked,
the players setting themselves up, of course, and in good spirits, as you would expect. Of course, Evil Geniuses have been here before in CLG versus World Elite, the longest game in the history of League of Legends, and Cyanide just preparing himself. He is a little baby face, as I mentioned yesterday, and he made a few comments about that, as did Peke, of course. Let's go back to Peke, because Peke...
We don't have to.
He was like, I didn't really mean it, Jason.
I know he didn't, but no one would ever know except us.
Nobody will ever know. Speaking of baby faces, there's Greppo.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned his Cyanide's baby face, because during the game, you know, they're all chatting up there in good spirits, and he's like, oh, I have to pee, I've got a baby bladder, so it must have heard you somewhere in there.
They got a remake, because they've made it in blind pick. GG, whoever hosted the game. So they're going to sort that one out and get back into a tournament match, and the players having a good bit of banter between them. Now they're sort of arguing who's going to host it. There is Yellow Star on your screen, of course. He's kind of been the man that stepped in for Fnatic. Of course, he replaced Reckless. Reckless was formerly there as the AD carry. Was only 16 years old, of course. So wasn't able to play in the European League of Legends Championship Series, and Yellowstar, formerly of SK Gaming, the only man in Europe that qualified twice.
Yeah, and we actually talked about him a long time ago, mentioning he's new to the team. Is he going to be that person to be able to come in there and really bond the team back together? And we saw in Katowice, he played phenomenal as Caitlyn versus SK. They did such a great job. And even over LCS, he's been putting up some really good numbers with Misfortune. And we've actually seen a couple of teams ban that away from him. And then, of course, N-rated, something I'm really curious about is that we've seen his Leona time and time again, how strong it is, but now it's being that solid champion band against him, and he has to kind of sprout out into these new ones.
The owner of the old game was Snoopy, so they've already ousted him and sussed out who made the failed line pick game. So they're into tournament game. They will be getting underway in just a moment. As you can see, Wicked on your screen, the man that's really been forced to stretch his champion base, and he mentioned he's like, well, he wasn't really happy about it, but he's kind of had to do it. And the whole of Evil Geniuses really have had to expand their champion pool, because if you look at the likes of Gambit, who are just doing instrumentally well across all tournaments right now, you know, they managed to get a third place at the Intel Extreme Masters World Champions. They're in the finals of the international show matches in MLG right now. They're top of the league here in Europe. They have such a huge champion pool.
Yeah, that's very true. And I'm really curious to see is that there's a difference between expand your champion pool and expand it in the sense of that you master that champion, because it's really hard to have 10, 15, or not 15, but 10 champions that you play extremely well. Is that Minesweeper?
This is Minesweeper. It's good to see how Peter practices his AD mechanics there, playing Minesweeper. Oh,
actually, no. Yesterday during the pause, we saw Snoopy and Wicked playing chess.
They were playing chess against each other,
testing
their mind power.
Well, you could argue League of Legends is a big chess game.
Well, that's what it is. That's what I often refer to it as real-time strategy, sort of real-time chess, and they are in towards the picks and bans. And I believe something is being spelt out on your screen between these picks and bans. So
come on, guys.
I'll leave it between you guys to count out what the players exactly think right now of
Don't be Xerath. See, I'm like the only American here too, so that kind of hits me. Well, I know Jad is as well, so it kind of hits me in the heart. But
so I think it's safe to say what Fnatic and EG are saying is they're cheering on Gambit over in America.
That's true. I mean, it is a really big game for them because there's been a lot of talk between North America and Europe, who's better. And Gambit, I mean, and Taytos both had to step up and really prove which region has it.
So let's recap. You can see the picks and bans. It is going to be, of course, ignore the bans. But the picks, it is going to be Jace, Nasus, Katarina, Varus, and Nunu. So Nunu returning as support here in the Fnatic lineup. And for Evil Geniuses, Wicked playing on Zed on that top lane. And honestly, it's a champion he's played a lot of in solo queue. I think we've seen a lot of him playing that. Froggen's also played it a few times as well, but Froggen, of course, back on Anivia. Snoopy back on Cho'Gath. So these are champions that they are so used to going back to, but they've got a little mix-up on there. Yellow Pete on Misfortune and Elise for Crepo as support. Definitely a different choice there. Something he's been playing a lot of in solo queue. So these guys, you know, it always gets me with the solo queue streaming they do, because you kind of know what they're going to play coming next week.
Well, you had, I remember Wicked, right when we started LCS, he was playing Karma top, trying to bait people into banning that champion. Yeah. He plays champion specifically on his stream just to get people to ban it against him so he can play what he wants to.
So the picks and bans are locked in. The match will get underway in just a moment. So what do we think? Okay, we saw a very brief period of this. Do you think over the night, when they knew they were going to do the same picks and bans, have they developed some super secret, or not so secret really, level 1 strategy?
Well, we actually talked to Evil Geniuses right before we started, and they were saying that Fnatic was mentioning how they can't really do anything level 1. Like, they were afraid of EG's team at this point. So, you know, Fnatic probably looked at their lineup and looked at EG's lineup and said, oh, you know, this might be a little bit of a mistake. We should probably not go for anything aggressive early on. But I don't really think it's going to affect the game as it progresses on, because it's always dependent on what happens in that early game. If anything, they discuss maybe lane switches, but you're always going to expect Wicked to be in that 1v2 situation.
But for a team to actually say that to another team, it's basically saying, invade us. That's what it tells me, and maybe Evil Geniuses, or are they baiting them?
It's a big mind game.
Yeah. Well, you talk about chess. Chess is all about the mind games, and that may be what has happened. We do see Evil Geniuses prepared and ready, as it is. They are sat. Look at Froggen on his chair. We saw him spinning around on that chair yesterday as well.
Keep it entertained during the breaks.
How to keep yourself entertained during the break, spinning around, and he's just folded up. I do actually know a Quake player that plays like that, literally with his feet up on his desk, and he sort of lounges back, and he's really good. It's just sickening.
I will. Okay, since I'm really tall, I've actually been in a situation as well. I put my legs up, I put like a hand under one leg, and it looks like something really out of a scary horror movie when I typically did play it. But yeah, I mean, as long as you're comfortable, because we talk about being comfortable at the arena playing. I mean, you have to have the right, key bindings, have the right mouse settings, have the right monitor as well. And these players, as long as they get comfortable, that's all that really matters, even if they look a little bit off.
Well, there is a unshaven Snoopy, still hasn't gone with it. So maybe he's just going to let it grow until they get back to top of the league again. Who knows? Maybe he could come in and he'd be looking like Shushay. Just let it keep extending down. Shushay, of course, who I have just met with his dog. He's got his dog in today.
And what kind of dog was it?
It's a nice dog. I don't know. It's kind of like a wolf type thing.
So like a husky?
It's awesome. It's a pretty awesome dog. Yeah. It's like an Alsatian type looking, but like a wolf. It's pretty awesome. But back onto the game. Not about Shushay's dog. We do have Yellow Pete on the screen. And, we talked about his aggression. It's definitely something he's been switching to. Varus was the champion that he's been playing a heck of a lot of here in the European LCS. But lately, he's been switching to Misfortune. Played it in the first game of the day yesterday, and he's picked it again. He had the choice between the two, I believe, when it was picks and bans yesterday. I'm trying to cast my mind back about 24 hours, but pretty sure he chose to go Misfortune over Varus.
Well, we've seen this kind of happen, though, with Genja as well. In Season 2, we were talking this before, that he seemed to be really defensive out of nowhere, yet Edward was very aggressive, Genja was very defensive, but in Season 3 in Katowice, he just all of a sudden switched. He all of a sudden got really aggressive, and now, I mean, it looks like Yellow Pete is finally doing the same, and Misfortune is not a bad champion to do that on when you have that insane damage early on, and you also have that really nice late game with that bullet time.
Oh dear, the chat's still going between them. Today I learned pause doesn't work in all chat. So they're just sorting things out. You can see crap on your screen. Looks like they're pretty much readying themselves up to go here. So, what do we think, Jay? What do we, I was going to say Jason, but no.
Oh.
I wasn't. I was going to say J-Pack, whatever you call yourself these days.
J-Cap, you mean?
J-Cap, that's it. J-Cap. J-Cap lol.
I should never change
I
my
don't
name
know.
to that.
I really don't know what that. It's better than but I love you.
Yeah, I miss that though.
But
it's always so
but
nice.
J-Cap, it's like so down and rad.
I wish you could see his hands.
Yo,
right
yo,
now, 'cause
yo,
every time he
J-Cap.
says it, he has like the gangsta hand signs up or whatever. But early on, as we do finally have that pause being dealt with, I'm curious to see if we will have EG invade like we were talking about before, if Fnatic was baiting them into that kind of thing. But EG does have a very strong team to invade. You have that cocoon out of Crepo, you have the wall if you want to go, or the stun out of Frog, and you have the knock up out of Snoopy, and then Wicked, who does some pretty good damage. Remember, yesterday, we did see a lot of early action out of Snoopy in the mid lane. He did go straight for Xpeke, burn that flash out of him, and almost actually picked up that kill. And I'm curious if they're going to do that yet again, or maybe go for something up towards that top lane.
So let's see how things do line themselves up immediately. Yellow Pete getting straight in, getting a shot, I think, on towards Cyanide. Didn't see whether he managed to land the shot. And immediately, we do have a issue. Well, would you believe it? And that sly grin, I think, on Peke's face says it all.
And he's getting so excited. It looked like we'd actually have the game underway. But I mean, what we did see, you can kind of see on the Xpeke screen a little bit, that EG looked like they were going for some sort of an invade.
They were thinking about it. But as you can see, the attempt in reconnect says,
nope.
Denied. I am so excited, but I just can't hide it.
I mean, well, okay, yesterday, I mean,
I'm about to lose control. I think I like it.
Oh my God. Nice. I always like I could slip in the song references there.
It's no problem.
But I mean, yesterday we had so many good games. Those first two were amazing when you and Jat were casting. That so much action happening. I was so excited to finally get into these next two and see how they were. And then we had unfortunate enough problems yesterday. So last night I was, sleeping on it, still excited. Come in, have them yet again. But I hope we do get these games underway because they're bound to be explosive. Well,
they will be explosive if they ever happen. We do see Pete keeping his hands nice and warm there, ready and waiting, just in case that slash pause gets hit anytime soon. Maybe they're just going to go, you know what? Quick, we're 1v5. Let's go. Let's go.
We can get this.
We got this. We got this. But it doesn't seem that they are going to get this because that pause is well and truly on the screen. And, well, we see Varus saying he's working again fine. So maybe we are going to get things underway. Who knows? He seems happy.
Crepo stroking his non-existent beard right now.
Yeah, he's just thinking, I wish I had a beard like Snoopy right now.
I do too, actually.
See, even look, Pete's growing it one out as well. Look. I think is this like an EG beard thing? Is this like a contractual? Guys, we need some designer stubble. We need to be looking sexy on screen. We need that designers double. SK, we feel are one-upping us right now, so we need to get some designers double out.
Well, they're sexy and they know it. They just got to show it, David.
Oh, yeah, I like it. He's returning the song references. Okay, we're going to have to see how we can take this one as it is. What do you think? Do you think Wicked could pop one out there? Do you think Froggen? Froggen, I think, would be struggling. I think Froggen.
I think him and Crepo would have a tough time. Yeah.
I think Crepo could maybe. It'd take a little while. He'd have to take a few of those beverages he appreciates.
I was gonna say just pop some Rogaine on the face to help it grow in.
Rogaine on the face. That's actually really I suppose it is a European thing as well as an American thing. America.
I'm so happy. Unfortunately, not for unlike my co-caster. I'm not losing my hair. It's just green.
Oh, wow. Luckily, I'm not losing it either because I've had a hairline like this since I was a child.
Well, now I just feel bad.
Yeah. So I'll introduce you to my father one day, and he'll be like, "So what's up, Jason?"
Why is he looking up at me?
Yeah, he would definitely be looking up at you. He's shorter than I am, that's for sure. He's little, but speaking of little, there's little Peggy. And Cyanide next to him, and I don't think they're going to go for the facial hair. They can pop anything out there. They're all little young baby faces.
I think maybe Enrated can.
You know, it was funny. We were talking off air before we did get underway, or not, as the case may be. But we were talking about, how they were going to settle it different ways. They were talking about like boxing matches, and EG were like, yeah, we're up for this. We can do some 1v1s. We wanted to see the top laners versus each other. SOAS versus Wicked seems a little bit weight class verified in Wicked's favor. That one to me.
But we agreed though that most likely it wouldn't end up being that. It'd end up Wicked versus Yellowstar and Enrated.
They just take them both on. Yeah, because you'd have to do the 2v1s.
It'd never be a 1v1.
So you wouldn't have the supports. But I tell you what. Snoopy versus Cyanide. I think you'd have to edge it to Snoopy on that one. Peke, though, versus Froggen. That could be an interesting one. Little biters. I think Peke might well win out on that one, though. I think Peke may have the edge in a 1v1 straight-up wrestling match with Froggen. I'm not sure. He can hear me now, so I can see the grin on his face. We are, of course, though, not going to talk about 1v1 wrestling matches between Evo Geniuses and some Fnatic. We are going to go over to our experts over the analysis desk. It's going to be Trevor Quickshot Henry and Joshua Jat Leesman.
Thank you for that one. It was an interesting start to the match, at least in terms of discussion from the caster booth.
Yeah, something has gone horribly wrong when D-Man and Jason Kaplan start talking about the facial hair of various League of Legends players.
Unfortunately, when you think about it with the internet connection problems, with the fact that we cannot get the match going the way we wanted to, it's up to us. We need to keep everybody entertained. We had a good talk yesterday, chatted about some things. Before we go anywhere, we need to just get a little bit of a pat on the back because we talked about unconventional supports. And I think it was a Twitter question, somebody mentioned Nautilus, and we said, well, maybe in a long lane, maybe in a 2v1.
Right. We're just like, you can do support Nautilus if you do a 2v1. And Curse did it, and then Elements missed all of his anchors. Unfortunately, because it would have worked, but they lost.
Well, let's actually recap. So we got a couple of talking points. If you did miss any of the North American LCS matches last night, make sure you head over to www.lolesports.com, click the little button in the top and change it to North America, have a look at the games. First of all, there was 4 matches that played, but let's start on the international, and then we'll get back to LCS. K2 All-Star B versus Curse. What happened?
First game was a disaster that got out of hand very quickly for Curse. Biggest thing that happened is they did a 4-man jungle invade into the blue buff of KT Rolster, and the KT Rolster top laner
Someday.
I'm not sure.
It's a double S, so I would say Someday.
Someday on Renekton, face-checked the brush, got ignited, but was managed to flash over the wolf wall and then use his slice and dice away and just escape the 4-man invade.
And something to touch on about that as well, he actually hadn't assigned his level 1 point yet. So it was literally in the heat of the moment, in the heat of that face check, being caught, flashing, assign the skill point and still aim the right direction. It was very good play and really unfortunate for Curse not to get first blood.
Yeah, and right from there, the big thing was, since they put so much time into the invade at the blue buff, Volibear, who was on KT Roaster B, got his red buff and went and camped the top lane brush before Voyboy could even get into the lane. As Voyboy was warding, they got a level 1 kill onto Voyboy. Voyboy burned his flash, still died. From there, Renekton bought a pink ward in the lane, so Voyboy never had vision, couldn't safely Twilight Shroud or any of that stuff, and from there, KT Roaster completely obliterated Curse in the first game. And it was like, if you have 22 minutes, go watch the game because that's how long it took, and it's actually a really good performance by KT Roaster B.
Yeah, the way that they played was absolutely phenomenal. One particular team fight right near the end, you kept ramping it up for us. We were watching it in the studio this morning, and Jeff's like, no, it's coming. No, it's coming. Wait for it. Wait for it.
It's about to get out of hand. You're like, I think it's already out of hand.
Really, really explosive game, and a really good showing from KT Roaster B. They dominated the first matchup. They went into the second game. They got off to a pretty good start, but Curse was trading fairly evenly. They picked up a couple of kills. They were scrapping. You know, they were fighting and picking up trading kills for a little while.
Yeah.
One of the big problems was Elements. He was missing those crucial hooks. He needed to land those anchors.
There was a few really key moments in the early game where Elements, especially once, I mean, and we're going to give a bunch of spoilers. There was a big...
Well, I think we've just given spoilers.
We've just given enough spoilers.
Well,
they had
whatever.
2 for Rogue. They won 2-0. But for those of you who have seen the game, and hopefully for those who haven't seen the game but are still interested and haven't muted us yet, at the very start, when there was the attempted 3-man tower dive up top by Curse, they were the red side on the map. So they
Correct.
were 3v2 diving the top lane turret. They lost 3 people because Orianna roamed up. So the Orianna got a double kill and had double buffs, but then stayed in the lane. And later on, St. Vicious came up for a gank on Volibear, and they would have gotten the double buff straight off of Orianna had Elements landed this like half-range anchor that was just brilliantly kind of juked out / just missed by Elements, and he got away. Then the game was close.
Yeah.
Like, Curse was, as you were saying, pretty much in it.
Yeah, the one thing that was very, very good to see was that on a mechanical level, in terms of CSing and in terms of lane control, they were actually on par with one another. Even in game 1, the CS numbers were actually very, very close for the majority of the first 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It was only really once the tower started falling and the fights erupted more frequently that they fell behind. Game 2, on a mechanical level, they were on par. I actually think Nijaki was doing very, very well to handle that middle lane. He was playing a little passively, was farming up a little bit. Game 2 is playing Twisted Fate. Not exactly the most impressive of ultimates, but
Game
it was pretty
2,
good.
he was on Kale. Game
I'm sorry,
1,
game
he was
1
on
Twisted
Twisted
Fate.
Fate.
Yeah, sorry, I was Kale.
But
against
his
you.
Kale was
Sorry.
actually pretty strong. He had some really clutch ultimates in certain fights where he would ult St. Vicious as soon as his Volibear passive triggered, and then by the time it was off, St. Vicious could stay in the
Massive
fight because he
amount of
had like 60% health. But it wasn't enough. And a lot of it was just the little things that KT Roaster B was doing. Like, they would always get extra turret hits in when they wouldn't be able to. They had like some of the best pink ward battles throughout both the series that I've kind of ever seen. Like, when a brush got counter pink warded, they actually burned a teleport just so they could counter pink ward out, because that's essentially a 250 gold swing for your summoner spell, right? Which a lot of teams don't ever think to use teleport as ward protection, because they weren't even really thinking of fighting. They just wanted to kill the wards, right? It was little stuff really mattered for KT Roaster B in the 2-0.
Now, we watched the game, you know, we're talking about the performance, and there's been a lot of talk about, you know, how EU is going to do against NA, how Korea is going to do against NA, EU, etc., etc. We've seen a bunch of games, and we talked about this yesterday at length. Intellectual Masters World Championships. We've talked about LCS. I believe you've actually played in Korea as well.
I played in WCG in
Okay,
2011.
well, look, you have some experience, okay? So what did you see out of Curse's performance yesterday against KT Roaster B that you think was good, was bad? You know, step back from the individual small things of the game. Could Curse actually compete with them if they were more practiced, or, you know, what would it need? What would they need?
I think they just need more practice against the style. KT Roaster B and most of the Korean teams do have a different form of aggression that a lot of the American teams are good at emulating. The way that they were protecting their pink wards, or the way that they were consistently pressuring turrets, like not the American way of pressuring turrets, or the like North American or European, like, oh, just send 2 or 3 people up, do the turret dive, and do this incredibly pre-organized, executed, let's just kill the 2 turrets in the top lane, and then, well, what do we do now? The turrets are down. They, at least KT Roaster B, was so good at just constantly keeping presence on most of the map. And it's a really hard thing to describe, but you could tell it caught Curse completely off guard, right?
Well, actually, you can talk about that for a second, because I think it was game 1 where Nijaki actually used Destiny from Twisted Fate to go up to the top lane to put pressure on Sumde's Renekton. And the second that Destiny was being channeled, you could hear the call coming out. Sumde was very low. He was trading with Voyboy Zakali. And the rest of KT Roaster B, they pushed Dragon. Then they split up and they pushed middle and bottom turret, while Nijaki and Voyboy were in the top lane. So it was like, okay, fair enough, you got a kill into Sumde's Renekton, but you've lost a Drake and 2 towers. Just that instant reaction, it was really, really good to see. And there's been some discussion of whether it was a bait. It was well, bait out the ultimate
Right.
and go. I think that's a bit meta thought, but once you see the Destiny, knowing, hey, we can get Drake, we can push towers.
I think it was mainly a reaction. They're just
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm going to think about diving void, but well, maybe the Twisted Fate ultimate's going to come. Oh, okay. Well, we know exactly what to do if that happens. Just like the craziest thing about the first game, which was obviously the 22-minute game, was how mid lane was a Diana versus Twisted Fate matchup, right? I wish I remember the name of KT Roaster B's mid laner. I'm sure we could look it up while I'm doing this little rant.
We can get this.
But I'll keep talking on the KT Roaster mid laner. He brought teleport on Diana, and he pretty much had more map presence with the
Ryu.
teleport alone. Ryu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hadouken.
Yeah. Oh, on Diana alone, just with the teleport. They had a bottom lane gank that they pulled off that beat the Twisted Fate ultimate to the spot. And then when the TF ultimate was there, his just lane pressure and pushing with Diana completely outfarmed him, because you think about trading the kill up top on Renekton. So he had the 1 kill already, which gave him like a slightly larger bounty, but it was like 360 gold plus the assist. So they maybe got 520 gold out of that, right? That was what Curse got. 2 turrets, 750 a pop, plus the dragon for 975, right? That's 2,475 gold to like 500 trade. They gained 2,000 gold out of something that a lot of teams, I mean, obviously Curse realized they lost it, but they don't realize the gravity of
How
what
big.
happens when something like that happens.
Now, how does that actually happen? How do you as a team, I mean, is it just practicing that allows you to see, well, Twisted Fate's up there, we know we can take Drake? Is it a little bit of foreplanning? Well, we were going to go Dragon anyway, and Nightjackie happened to go top, so let's just all in, take Drake, take towers. What elements is more important in that setup?
Yeah, so the way KT Roaster B was actually able to pull that off, like, if in a normal game, imagine you're scared of Twisted Fate in the lane, right? And he's constantly with blue buff, throwing out his wild cards, keeping your lane pushed back in mid, and you're just farming at your turret, right? If that play happens, if you're not pushed up to his tower, he goes top lane, he kills your Renekton. While he's doing that, you're spending the whole time trying to get the wave back to the turret. He's running down. Maybe you get some turret damage, he stops you, and then he's there to stop the dragon. But because KT Roaster B was putting so much global pressure on the map, because bot lane was already pushed and already had a low turret, because Diana was pushing mid lane so hard, when Twisted Fate went up there, they had the timing window to finish the turrets and then still get dragon, but that's only because of the pressure they were applying beforehand.
All right, well, congratulations to them. We do have some good news. The game has been unpaused. We are underway with Fnatic versus the Evil Geniuses. D-Man and Jason, take us away.
Thank you very much, and wow, here we go. So, let's hope it stays for a little bit longer, and everybody, just cross your fingers you didn't see that little attempting to reconnect sign, because personally, I may well actually lose my something that I can't say.
He's going to lose his clothes if he sees another attempt to reconnect.
Actually, Evil Genius and Fnatic say 8 towers is the record, isn't it? Do you think we can? Do you think we could beat it? Do you think we could top that? I don't know. I hope not. That's first it. But they do see Crepo actually. Did he just take away the?
Yeah, he's actually got over half a level of experience, so it looks like he might try to go for some early level aggression. But he already did level his repel. He already has that cocoon available.
So we'll see what happens with that one. As it stands, the lanes are starting to settle himself out. We did see Wicked and so as saying bot lane. No, you come top lane. You come top lane. They really want to face each other, but I think the teams are saying no, we're not going to allow it, and it is going to be Wicked 2v1 in the bot lane, while Soaz is 2v1 in the top lane. And we do also see a potential gank happening in the top and the bottom. So both side lanes trying to set up for something. Soaz, of course, he's going to be well aware of the fact that Repel is available, and in fact he could jump diving in with the cocoon, but the blue buff is being taken away by both teams.
Yeah, we saw, I believe EGs did see Cyanide going through that bomb side of the river to actually go for that blue buff, so Stoopy responded, taking that blue buff away, and we might just, okay, actually we're not going to see that top dive, which is kind of become the norm now. Around 3 minutes, you go for that 3-man dive on the top side.
We will see it on the bottom.
Yeah,
though.
we will.
It's going to be coming round. Cyanide and N-Rated are well away, and wow, Wicked is miles away. He could actually just go up river here. It is only Yellow Star that's there, so technically it's a little bit different, and yeah, they think, oh, okay, we're not quite going to work here, and they are going to come around the bottom to see whether he can come through. Remember, Cyanide's gone with that Ghost. This is something we also see Diamond Prox doing a lot when he plays Nasus. He has that Ghost on the jungler. Oh, it's a 4-man push for top.
This could be very bad, though. If they don't get this kill, Froggen's going to miss out on so much, but they are heading up there, and so as only level 2 at this point, he cannot escape this gank.
Well, we'll see whether what they open it up with. Of course, they have the Rupture, they have the Frost, they have the Cocoon. There's a heck of a lot of crowd control to be used here.
Cyanide's coming up the lane, though.
He's going to spot them. We're going to come across here. He's going to use the acceleration gate. Snoopy's going to come in. He's going to land the rupture. He does manage to catch it. Soaz also caught out. The flash frost comes in. It is First Blood, and it's going to be Snoopy that picks it up.
Great play by EG right there. It seemed like a little bit of a misplay on Fnatic's side. They knew he was coming. Silent even came up that lane to counter that. But in the end, they end up picking that kill up. And Xpeke trying to push that mid lane, trying to get that turret low. The top one already down about half health at this point.
Yeah, Peke not really going to do a great deal of damage to it. You can see he's barely hit it. Immediately, he's got two players coming straight towards him. It is Froggen and Snoopy. And they back off. So, advantage currently with Evil Genius is it's just 800 gold, though. And they are pressuring between the lanes. Dirty laning, I think we heard it called last night between from Chobra.
Well, I mean, we do see Soaz, though. Luckily for him in that top lane, he did keep his flash. He does have his Ignite available still, so if he can get a little bit of help towards that top side, he won't be too bad off, but EG did put a pink ward down in that tri-bush, so we might see Stupi visiting that lane yet again, as Cyanide just kind of not in the right place this time. Wasn't really, was trying to expect Stupi to come in there again, but fortunately, he's going a little bit slow now. Because he's been in that top lane really protecting it, he's been missing out on a lot of farm.
Well, and also the big advantage for Evil Geniuses right now is the fact that Wicked is way ahead of Soaz. Soaz, of course, did get killed out. He's already been so protective in that top lane, so cautious, and again, we see Snoopy coming in.
Yep, he just delayed a little bit longer. We do have Soaz with that flash up. Cyanide nowhere in the vicinity to help him here, but with another huge minion wave pushing, or creep wave pushing in, as long as they land that cocoon or some form of CC, Soaz will die.
The rappel comes out there. They're going to go towards him. He does put the acceleration gate. This time he flashes away from the rupture, but the cocoon comes in. Crepo managed to flash through onto him, but the rest of the team did not follow through. They are potentially going to take the turret down, though, so Soaz, again, still not going to be able to do anything about this.
Yeah, even though the gank wasn't successful in terms of getting the kill, Soaz is still level 3. He still only has 10 CS. They denied him so much now at this point, and they are letting all these creep waves just die to that turret. And then you look at Wicked in the bot lane. He already has that 28 CS. He's sitting on level 5 at this point. EG has a huge lead right now.
A huge advantage, 2 levels to the top laner.
Oh,
a lot more gold as well. Snoopy is going to come around again. So as he's trying to dodge out, the rupture will not land, the cocoon will not land. Snoopy's taken 2-3 tower hits. They might turn it against him. He's going to go very low. One more hit. Cyanide comes in. Now Yellow Pete's low. Can they finish him off? One more shot should do it. He's going to walk through the bush. Flash is out there. Peke's not coming through. Oh, the shock blast. He just dodges to the side. Peke's going to come through. Spirit Fire finishes the deal.
What a great job by Fnatic to turn that aggression right back around over to EG. Crepo not going to stick around there and escape, but great job by them. That helps get Soaz back in the game. He's going to get a nice chunk of farm here, and Cyanide, perfect positioning from him.
Brilliant play there. So Fnatic get revenge, and now they actually have the gold lead with those 2 kills they've just gained there, despite the fact they didn't lose that top turret either. It held on just that little bit because EG continued to farm and not touch it.
Yeah, and speaking of that, it's really interesting because we see Snoopy. He picked up Boots mobility, so you know he's going to want to roam around, really create some opportunities with some ganks. So by leaving that turret up, they're kind of letting that laning phase extend a little bit, allowing Snoopy to get in there and make those Boots mobility worth it.
So we'll see whether they do work out. Bottom tower, of course, being pressured. Hasn't taken a great deal of damage just yet. Looks like Snoopy may come down here instead. He's heading straight across at rapid speed in towards it. Catches a glimpse of Cyanide. May try and come around. No, Cyanide's already taken it away. Cyanide, of course, is going to spot that. Oh, he didn't have the chance to get the reset because he just used it on the Wraith.
Yeah, and we do see, I'm really curious about Xpeke because in the game we saw yesterday before we had to restart it, he was really pressured in the mid lane, but right now he hasn't been affected too much. He's still really close to CS with Froggen and still has that teleport available. And, you know, we always talk about the teleport. If you don't make it worth it in kind of the laning phase, it kind of seems to fall off. Obviously, late game, with the split pushing potential you have, it really can matter quite a bit, but hasn't really been able to do anything and still has that red pot.
Peke goes a little bit aggressive on Froggen. Froggen without that mana at the moment. Peke keeping the pressure down, but Froggen farming out very well. 57 to 50. Both laners really can farm a lot. We haven't seen a great deal of roaming yet from Peke. Of course, has got that teleport, so we'll see where he starts going. Once that snowball starts on Peke, it can be a very dangerous thing, and Evil Geniuses have to be aware of that.
And one thing that's really going to cause a lot of problems is these blue buffs, because we did see them stolen from each team, taken away from the other team. But we have Froggen, I mean, on Anivia, you have to give him that blue buff, and looks like Fnatic isn't really going to make a play on it. They're not going to try to stop and prevent that. So Froggen should have an easy time in this laning phase now, and I was really worried about that, because EG, they've been really good at taking away from teams, but haven't been so great at defending their own.
They have the timers. I wonder if they're going to try to come across. Once they pick up this blue, see whether they go directly for the opposition blue, because they pinged out. They knew exactly Cyanide was there. They knew Peke had just gone back, so they were aware that they are going to go straight towards blue buff, but it doesn't look like they're going to try and make a play.
Interesting thing just happened at the bot lane. We did see Yellowstar actually use his ultimate to stop Wicked from backing, so we could potentially see Dragon coming up soon. We have Snoopy. He's going to be level 6 very shortly, as we see Soaz taking a lot of harass under that turret. Stupid not 6 just yet, and Wicked actually sticking around, so we might see Stupid come down there for a gank.
Yep, the blue buff is being started off by Cyanide, but the Froggen's putting the pressure on the mid lane, but we do see Snoopy coming rushing down here. The boots of mobility, of course, just passing straight by that ward. They are well aware that he's here, and they've immediately backed off and just trying to bait him out. And Yellowstar kind of almost sort of say baiting him in, saying, come on, attack me, I've got the blood boil up.
Yeah, and over on the top side, we did see Soaz pressured on his turret. We did see EG trying to push up, but Cyanide was waiting on the sidelines just to come in and really stop any sort of gank happening. But EG still taking the first turret of the game now. Have a little bit of a gold lead, just about 300 at this point. But I think Dragon really should be contested very soon, just because of teleport Fnatic has, and also Snoopy on that Shogat. That Nom really goes underrated. You have that pure 1,000 damage, true damage from him, and then you have the smite on top of that.
And interesting that they've chosen to let Cyanide continue to have those blue buffs. So obviously been farming up, getting that queue pretty big. I guess that's his plan. Of course, we'll be leveling up the Spirit Fire as well, but it's all about building that queue up. So what do you think the advantage is really? That means obviously Peke, I'm expecting not to be roaming much more because he won't have the cooldowns from the blue.
It's not really, it's a big deal in terms of the cooldowns. You're definitely right on that part, but it doesn't really give him that mana needs. As you see, Wicked, was that his ultimate? Yeah, she used ultimate on Enrage just to push them away. But if anything, it would have been better onto Soaz just so we can start getting that tier stack so you can get some extra farm, get a little bit back in the game. But still, giving that over to Naz is not bad in any way. You give him that extra gold, you give him that extra ability to farm quickly and build up some items that you're going to need for their team. But they are starting to head over towards Dragon, and EG's not really in a position to do anything about this. Snoopy is currently back into the base.
Well, the thing is, Wicked just went back as well, just used his ultimate, so they're well aware. And this is something that Wicked's done quite a lot of. You know, we spotted it with Rumble as well. So,
hi, Jet.
Hi, Jet. How you doing? It's good that you see Jet's paying attention there. He was well aware of his camera prowess, and just give it a little wave to you guys. But it's the players we wanted to see, really, and there they are. And they are playing as well, so I'm not too sure exactly what the pause was about, but they are back in the game. Oh, okay, it was just a ping issue. The players couldn't see a ping for some reason going down. And it does look like Fnatic actually going to back out of that Dragon, so they're well aware of the situation and have pulled out.
Yeah, I'm really worried if that was because of the pause, or if that was because of they didn't really want to do it in the end anyways, because they had the ability to do it. I mean, we said Snoopy was back, and he does have that feat available now, but he wasn't in the vicinity to really defend it. We do see the AD carry and support coming down from EG down towards the spot lane, so we will have that matchup happening, and Wicked trying to get his matchup against Soaz in the top, but it's not fortunately going to happen.
So as it stands, 2-1 in kills, very much even in gold, 1 turret though, and that's a problem, surely. The farm advantage has to be across with Fnatic. The fact that they haven't got a turret yet, but they are heading gold.
Yep, they are, and it's all because of Yellowstar. He has a nice lead over his counterpart, but we'll see how it develops early on, because we already have the turret taken. Now they're sending their AD carry support bottom to go for that turret as well, even though they're not really pushing up super aggressively. And then Wicked trying to go head-to-head against an already under-farm, under-level Jace.
Yeah, as it stands, we do see Wicked. He went with the Bilgewater Cutlass, and oh, the repels landed on N-Rated, but immediately quick return there. Yellowstar lands the ultimate. He's gonna have to repel away. Teleport's coming in. Peke going in towards Yellow Pete off the side. Crepo's in all sorts of trouble. He goes down. Barrier from Yellowstar prevented his death. We do have the rest of Virginius is heading down south though. Yellow Pete is not going to last long. Another tower hit will go on towards Cyanide. He's had to head north. Can they catch him out? The turret is going to go down. Snoopy is going in for it. He knows he's in the bush. He's going to come around, throws the rupture out, gets to get the silence. That's going to get the kill. One more hit should be enough. He does manage to get the slow. Can he run away from this one? The minions are on him. The rest of the team coming around support. Froggen just coming off the screen there. He's going to capture him in the rupture, but here comes Crepo. Peke's there as well, sorry. Peke does catch him out. Now Wicked comes around. Wicked manages to throw out enough, but he's going to be the damage. He pops out the ultimate. Peke's still not taking a great deal of damage here. He's still running away from this one. He will finally go down, and it was a crazy exchange. It was a 2-for-2 in the end, and it looks like Evil Genius is going to take the Dragon off the back of that.
Yeah, very crazy exchange. I mean, we did see the turret go down for Fnatic, but it's not going to matter when you have this Dragon taken. And that was a great job by Wicked, because he was in that top lane, but when he saw Cyanide appear, he immediately started heading down, immediately came down there for the turnaround and for that Dragon pickup. As you do see some items actually finally purchased here. We have the Haunting Guys for Xpeke, so it looks like he wants to go for that kind of penetration build.
Yeah, it's kind of what he always builds. I think he's very much always goes straight penetration. Probably going to get the Sorcerer's Boots as well, I guess, and then just load up with damage. He used to go Warbox after that, didn't he?
I think he might actually be going Murtra, just get the stun of Froggen, and also the Cocoon out of Crepo.
That's not a bad idea.
And not to mention that teleport we were talking about, just a couple of minutes ago, perfectly well used. It was a great job with them. Unfortunately, EG didn't really have the timer on that ward. I know Crepo always talks about how they try to time every single ward that goes down so they can you know, be prepared for some sort of teleport. But great job by him to get in there and help pick up those 2 kills.
So as it stands, clearly a issue as things are not moving and the players are paused. Again, I feel this is a record I may just put on repeat. For the 6 games we have today, I am not being entirely inspired by confidence, I think it's safe to say. And I think it's safe to say that without any energy drinks in me, I may need a little bit of a kickstart, a little bit of a crank to get going, because these pauses are starting to test my patience a little.
I will say this, though. I'm actually enjoying, or not enjoying the pause, obviously, but I enjoy that we have Jad here and we have Trevor to really bring us through this.
I mean,
they have so much good insight.
There has been talk that if myself and Jat do enter the same building, pauses happen. There's an equation along with Evil Geniuses being in the same room, so 7 people just colluding to basically, there's an internet problem if we're all within the same region.
And also Crepo's brother's here, if I'm not mistaken.
Crepo's brother, last time Crepo's brother visited him was at the quarterfinals against World Elite, and they had that issue for 8 hours. He came to this is the first one he's ever come to, the EULCS, and they had problems again.
And he said to Crepo later, he's like, if this is going to happen every time, I'm just not coming to games anymore.
Crepo's brother has not been too impressed with it, but I think we're going to pass back over to the analysis. They are ready and waiting. We've already seen Jat once. He wants to wave at you guys again.
Well, thank you for that one. I had to run to the bathroom break, and unfortunately, I wasn't here when the camera cut to us. Was it good being here alone, Jat?
Yeah, well, now they're still on players, so I was waving, but there's no one to see, unfortunately.
No one to see. Yeah. We'll get our moment. We will get our moment.
Yeah, we'll get it.
So let's talk about the game. We're 10 minutes in.
Yeah. Well, we got to be careful how much we talk about the game.
Ooh, that is very, very right.
Because they have the, obviously, stream in the studio for the players.
Correct.
Or for the audience. They have the... Well, here we go.
Hello.
They have the headset. I was super casual. I was like, yeah, so we just got that. I should just stay like this. We're casual anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So they have the video in the studio for the audience, but during pauses, if they need to talk to officials or anything like that, they're obviously taking their headsets off. So we don't want to leak any confidential information.
Yeah, so we got to think about it.
We can talk about the game a bit, for sure.
The game is very, very close right now. We've seen back and forth plays. This last particular team fight, it really got our blood pumping.
Oh, man. So the biggest thing about the team fight was when Wicked got the Zed kill onto Xpeke's Katarina. He predicted that Xpeke was going to flash over the wall because there's no vision on the other side. So he started channeling his Zed ultimate, which is a travel 2. It's a lot like an Alpha Strike from a Master Yi, and it seeked him to the other side of the wall so he could finish off the kill. Like, it was, the whole fight was chaotic and like a minute long, but that's the big thing that stuck out.
Yeah, it's definitely something we actually want to touch on once we get to the post-game analysis. If we could show you a replay, we would, but at the minute it's got that attempting to reconnect. So
yeah, hit that thing.
Yeah, it would be a bit annoying. So we're trying to get the technical issues resolved. We're trying to get that matter underway. Let's take a step away from this game and this matchup because we don't know what the players can or cannot hear, and we don't want to be talking about item gold or anything like that, and maybe sharing some more information. Let's stay on LCS and let's talk about North American results. We had 4 more games last night. Let's say there weren't any more upsets. Let's say because the night before we did see Complexity beating Dignitas. Complexity did beat Vulcan, and I said to you, would you call it an upset? And I was a bit on the fence, but you seem to think it is.
So the reason I really like the fact that Complexity is beating Vulcan is it's the 5th week in a row. We've only had 5 weeks in North American LCS where there's been, to me, like a big story. So Complexity during Super Week looked rather hopeless, right? Like they had that terrible loss to, I think it was Dignitas, where it was like one of the most brutal, punishing games that anyone had ever seen. They're just like, oh God, stop, Complexity's never going to win a game again. And now they're 2-0 again, right? So it's a trend that's happened every week. So first week was the only kind of biggest week we saw where Curse went 3-0 and Dignitas went 1-2. So those were like the big surprise stories coming into that one. And everyone was like, Dignitas is dead. Power rankings came out. They had them ranked behind Good Game University. They were like 5th in North America. Everyone's like, man, that I will dominate band. They're just like, they need Jet back. And I was like, well, I don't know about that. But
they need Jet back.
Yeah, not anymore, that's for sure. They're doing well since then because the week after that, they went 3-0.
Yep.
And that was the week where Vulcan was 0-5 after 2 weeks. And in week 3, we were joking like, first week Curse went 3-0. Second week Dignitas went 3-0. Maybe Vulcan's going to go 3-0. And we just like all laughed about it and was like, okay, they did. And Vulcan did go 3-0.
Now, Complexity this weekend, are they playing today, Sunday's games? I'm going to get the schedule
they have a third game today on Sunday.
And it's against TSM.
Yeah, so
Now, the TSM game yesterday, Curse versus TSM, it wasn't a very open-ended match.
no, that was tough for
It was,
TSM.
it was a stomp from Curse.
I was
they were in
thinking-
complete control of that match.
I was thinking Curse was going to take that momentum straight through to the KT Roaster B game. That was not the case. But the game itself, Reginald, it came out in an interview that Travis did with St. Vicious after the game, actually threw up right at Champ Select. But Reginald later made a Facebook post and said he felt fine during the game. That is not the reason they lost. They lost because they lost, and it moved on with it. But that was, as you said, an extremely one-sided game. I almost can't really analyze it because so many games went on after that, and the game was just a little stompy.
Yeah, it was done very, very quickly from the get-go. Curse, they took control of the lanes, they pressured the map, and they took control of the mid-game. I mean, there was very few mistakes coming out of Curse, and it allowed them to roll over TSM. Now, the question is, today, Complexity are facing Complexity currently 2-0. They're sort of the eyes are on them this weekend. You know, they beat Dig in a very close game. Louder Mortis in particular, his performances sort of stand out in that match. Against TSM, who are maybe going to be reeling from that loss. Maybe Reginald is a bit ill. You know, even if you say, look, it doesn't affect me, that's just him being a professional sportsman, right? That's him coming out and saying, look, we have to play, you know, and we played. But it does affect you. If you're not feeling well, if you're not feeling comfortable, your head's not 100% in it. Do you think Complexity can take TSM tonight?
This game will show so much to both the TSM fanboys and the TSM haters because there are a lot of them. I'd say they're, along with COG, like the most divisive teams in North America, if that's the word for it, where they have,
agree with that.
if they do well, the
Everyone
whole
loves them.
flock of people that are huge TSM fans are like, this is the vindicating moment for us.
Yeah.
But if they lose, there's a whole other pack of people that are just ready to say, you know,
big
Reginald
fan
needs to
bases.
turn into a real leader, and you know, Dyrus is blah blah blah, and they just talk and talk and talk. So TSM listens to that stuff pretty heavily. Like you see Dyrus tweet about it fairly frequently. Like
they're an emotional team.
They are
They're
a bit of an emotional
invested in
team. There was
this.
such an awesome picture I saw that someone posted on Reddit. I ended up retweeting it on my Twitter. Like someone got a backstage picture, and it was kind of a private, intimate thing that I felt like kind of bad tweeting
And
about. But
everybody
it was
was-
posted
and
online. But like they
It was
were
morbid. It was morbid.
They
I
were.
mean,
Everyone was looking down. Like Reginald was about to say something, but everyone just like no one was talking. Right?
Yeah.
They were just backstage, kind of like, yeah, that was a really
this
bad
sucks.
loss.
Yeah.
And it really showed the passion that these guys put into it because they have been in a gaming house more than any other North American team. Like those guys really close to each other.
Yeah, and they've been together for a long time as well. So it's definitely a game I'm looking forward to. That is, of course, going to be kicking off. Hopefully, if we can get through our games later in the day. I've just heard
We'll
from the
see.
producer. Yeah, I've heard from the producer we're still having some technical issues. The players are unable to reconnect to the match. Just to give you a bit of an explanation on the situation and why this is happening. Here at the studio, we've got a couple of different internet connections. So the stream is on its own private, secured, armed guard protected line, which in theory is working fine. The rest of the connections, those ones are running, which is the players, which is, you know, the computers inside the office. Those are the ones that we're having issues with at the moment. We are hoping to get the problem resolved, but yeah, at the moment, it is a little bit up in the air. While we're here and filling, as we were doing
We need
yesterday,
to get some coffee cups.
Yeah, that would
and
be
just
good.
have like a talk show and be like, oh yeah,
that would be really cool. Let's
talk about the meta.
Tweet at us. Let us know your thoughts at LOL eSports #LCS, or you can do it individually at RiotJet and at Riot Quickshot. Give us some
Assuming we have
questions.
internet.
Give us some thoughts. Chat to us. We did ask a question a little bit earlier today, and we were talking about which champion you feel has had the biggest impact at the League of Legends Championship Series so far. I did a little bit of research because I anticipated problems, and
You
I've got a
clever
couple.
dog.
I've got a couple here. So I want to pick up ones that stood out to me, and then I feel we'll have some discussion points. We've got a question from Sebastian, which is at Seb Gaming. He says he thinks that Vi has had the biggest impact. His Q for Baron and Dragon Pit ganks, plus her ultimate for squishy targets, equals a big change in Season 3. Now, Vi, you know, very, very new champion to the league in the grand scheme of things. Been around a couple of months. Hit or miss, we've seen some fantastic Vi performances. We've seen some less than fantastic performances. And it's one of those champions where if you get ahead, you can do very well. But if you fall behind, all you're doing is committing yourself into a fight and going to get focused down.
Yeah.
So, Vi, big impact or not? What do you think?
I think it's a very big impact. If you look at the kind of old standard of when people first started running the dive buddies, for instance, it's just like a Nocturne and an Akali. Two people who go on one target and have enough damage to take down the primary damage dealer and then mop up from the back. It's like things that can invade through the defensive lines of teams and get to the squishies, right? Vi is like the epitome of that archetype. So when you combo Vi with something else that dives, it is like the best 2 dive buddies. So I feel like that's a really huge impact because it draws the fight lines so succinctly and exactly on the battlefield. So when you pick a Vi, it's like, that is a guy who needs to now get away from Vi. And you know the game plan going in. So the way she dictates the game pace is really a big impact on Season 3.
Okay, now we've seen Vi, I think, in EU more so than NA used in some of the other roles. We've seen her in the mid, particularly.
Yeah.
Shusha has run her a couple of times. I know I always enjoy seeing Vi in the mid because it signals a very, very aggressive play like you've talked about. We have not seen a lot of Nocturne being played in the jungle. Why do we not have a Vi in the mid, Nocturne in the jungle, and Shen top, or a Kali top? Why do we not have more dive buddies?
Oh, that's a good point. So it's like, you can do triple dive comps. So one of the reasons that Nocturne's not played as much is a little bit up in the air, but like when the job of like a Vi and a Nocturne are very close to similar, and the clear times are very close to similar, Vi has a lot more burst than Nocturne does, right?
Okay.
And they do have a bit of an overlap, so Nocturne's not the best laner, so he is getting a little bit pushed out by Vi in a lot of ways. Not sure. I think we will probably see a bit more Nocturne, right? Because he has a longer engagement range, but they are actually very similar to each other.
It's just the combo I want to
Right?
see. I
Yeah.
want to see a Vi go in, a Nocturne come over the top, and a Shen stand United being
Yeah.
channeled.
The
I
thing
think
is,
it would be awesome.
when you do that, you have to be very careful that, because you do that, you have no midline.
Yeah.
Right? So you do something like that, you will have no big AP caster that can stop your own line of getting invaded. So if you ran that with like a Janna Ezreal, like an AD carry support combo that can really fend for themselves, you have to. Or you have to run that with 2 more divers and just all go in.
So let's say our bottom line could then be Pantheon and Jarvan.
Something like that.
Oh,
And just like,
yeah.
let's go. That would be a great like normal game team comp to be, and you just go. Right? And those can be really fun. That's what Team Marn did in the North American qualifiers because they didn't have like the greatest team synergy. So if you're like a new ranked 5s team, this is some I'm going to say Plat 2 advice or something, right? If you're a newer ranked 5s team, Gold 1, Silver 2, Bronze 3, like to move up in ranks, if you want better team fight coordination and cohesion, run a set of characters that all have the same mindset. Because then you can just say, let's fight, and everyone knows exactly what to do. So you won't have the miscommunications. You'll just pick a target, go kill the AD carry, and then worry about the tanks later. Like that actually works surprisingly well. And even pro teams do it. That's how far the strategy
It's
goes.
so much fun to play as well when you are sitting on voice comms with your teammates and your buddies and you actually start saying, well, you follow everything up. This massive dive composition, 5 people in your face. It's very fun to do. So Vi. All right, let's do one more before we do jump to a break. This one comes from Marco Pranjic at Pranyathim, something like that.
One sec, though. I do see the chat, and they're just like, ready, says the teams. They're waiting on some admin things, but we might have internet for, like, try number 74. Maybe it'll go this time.
All right, well, we'll hold Marco's Twitter post for later. It does look like the players do continue chatting.
They're discussing.
Yeah,
okay.
the admins are there.
That was the update. I'm sorry. Let's continue for a brief
No,
moment.
that's perfect, because if the game starts, we are going to have to jump into it.
Yeah,
But he reckons Elise, because she just rocks. Now, Elise, of course, we've seen mid lane, we've seen jungle, we've seen top. Probably more prolific in the middle and the top lane. Has been used in the jungle from time to time, but slightly less impact. So what do you think about her impact on the state of the game? And now we see Crepo running as support in this very match.
You got it. So Elise's impact on the state of the game is more about her pick ban versatility than almost any of the other things, and her pressure in the lanes, and actually difficulty of playing in team fights. So champions like Jace or Elise or even Nidalee are very much about skirmishes and small fights and laning because they don't have true ultimates. Those guys all get their huge access to skills beforehand, and then their laning is kind of overpowered in a sense because they don't have the ultimates that generally everyone uses in team fights. So the reason Elise has had a big impact in Season 3 is because of the thing we touched on a little bit yesterday, where you can pick an Elise very early on and not give anything away. So nobody can game a game plan around you, say, oh, they picked an Elise, well, I'm going to pick Renekton in the top lane, which is a really bad idea against an Elise, but or a Nidalee, who would actually be pretty good at laning against Elise, right? You can't do that because you pick a Nidalee and Elise flies into the jungle, or Elise goes into the support role. So you pick that early, and it gives you a lot of tactical versatility.
on the assumption that your team can play and use her.
Yeah, on the assumption
everywhere
that
as
like
well.
Froggen and Wicked and Crepo and Snoopy can all play it, right? So
Okay, so we're talking about Evil Geniuses. We've seen them playing a number of different champions. We've seen them trying things out at Intellectually Masters World Championships. We've seen Froggen play Singed. He went top lane. We've seen Wicked on Zed. He went mid. Now, this particular matchup, he's gone top again. I know for a fact that we've been seeing Froggen expanding some champions. We know they're talking about it as well. So let's talk about Elise. Where do you think she's the most powerful? And how important is it that Snoopy, Wicked, and Froggen can all play Elise if they want to swap? So yeah, first powerful and then multiple.
So for EG specifically, I don't feel like Wicked fits the playstyle. Wicked is, this is going to be an analysis, and I'm not trashing any players because these guys are amazing. He is a bit like a European Dyrus in a sense that the champions he plays are brute force, effectiveness, and he wins because he knows more about the game, right? Their laning mechanics, the way they control creep waves, the way they judge when to go in and out, and their mastery of very specific small champion pools. Like, it's not like Aurelia isn't a technically complex champion with the way Wicked can play her and the reaction times that he has, or like Dyrus playing Jax being able to jump in and out of all the right situations, are hard technically, but to learn something like Elise for those guys who get good at their champions by playing thousands of games, just for the versatility of pick swapping, isn't that important for EG specifically. If we're looking at it like holistically of where is Elise best, we obviously see her most in top lane. I think that's where she is able to isolate the lane the most and create the most pressure on the map. But depending on what play styles you want to go for, you put her in different modes. So the top lane obviously is the super lane pressure. The jungle is very gank heavy. Elise is not a fast farmer, but she can be very aggressive. So a lot of the Chinese teams, or even Type A snipers and Type A assassins, have used Elise in the jungle because it's a really good ganker. You run support Elise, that's for 2v1s, right? So everything has a different use depending on where Elise goes, but the most common is top lane.
All right, I like it indeed. We are looking at our countdown time, but unfortunately no updates from the players just yet regarding the unpause. So we're going to carry on. As we said, we asked the questions at the beginning of every show in terms of, we just want to hear your thoughts and your feedback. So the question today was, which champion do you think has had the most impact on the League of Legends Championship Series? I prepared another one here. This is from Nils Mit K, all with underscores. And he says, definitely Kale. Now, he's actually specifically mentioned a player because Skara said that they would give up every tactic they had when Kale is open. So he feels that Kale beats because of Skara. But again, another champion that has the versatility that we talked about with Elise, arguably more power in the mid lane than Elise has, and even with a little bit of a balance, nerf, she's still being picked heavily in the mid. You know, we were sort of expecting maybe to fall away a little, but if NALCS is anything to go by, you know, it was what, 3 or 4 games yesterday where she was played?
We'll call it a soft balance that happened to kill.
I like that.
Yeah, I remember they were talking, I loved the term yesterday. I heard Kobe24 talking about the Amumu nerfs, and he was like, it was a hard balance on Amumu. Let's call it one of those. And then Amumu played by Mortis and actually was victorious in the LCS last night, despite the hard balancing. But if we talk about Kale, she was good. But I hear good stuff.
We are going back.
This is more important.
No. What? It appears D-Man has trolled us. D-Man is over on the side, running his hands, saying, we're going. It was unpaused.
Thanks, man.
To immediately go pause back in. So we'll see if this actually is going back in. Are we going live, production? What was that? All right, no, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it.
Let's talk about Kale.
Let's go back to Kale.
I like that question.
Kale, we've seen once Season 3 came about in the last couple of months, she just exploded. Like, we've seen Kale periodically Season 2 towards the end of Season 2, but it wasn't a particularly popular pick. And with the changes, some of the new items that have come in Season 3, she's probably been the most played. And I'm just being trolled. You see. We'll get to Kale. Guys, the game has been unpaused. All sorts of stuff is happening. Let's throw this over to D-Man and Jason to take it away.
All sorts of stuff is happening, and I don't know what is going on because we can see Grepo going aggressive here on towards it. Rating, can they catch him out? Yellowstar taking very low. He might be able to get on towards him, but now they're in also trouble. Fnatic have responded. Fnatic have come round. Yellowstar gets one. Peke gets a double kill. They turn it back towards Frog, and he puts the wall down. The bullet time goes in. They're going to get on towards BLP. Peke goes down. He's coming back around, and Rating's back in there. One shot will do it. It's a double kill for Yellow Pete. It's just bonkers action the moment we come back. Froggen gets the kill, Soaz comes around, Vara's shot comes across, but they doesn't catch on, and just like that, it's 7-7.
I wish I could give you some sort of analysis for what happened, but it seems like we missed out on 3 minutes in the game somewhere in the time frame. We didn't even know they were pushed up that far, but still a 3-for-3 trade. I guess we can talk about how the items had developed a little bit. We had Soaz, who was very pressured in that top lane early on. He has a Giant's Belt now. He has a Brutalizer, going for that Mirror Mana eventually. So he's starting to get back in the game, starting to do some damage. We do see the Sword Boots finally picked up for Katarina. Xpeke does have that. Vars has a BF Sword, a Zeal, and a Bilgewater Cutlass, which we see the same item over on Wicked. Looks like they really want to go for that Sword Divine, which is really popping this patch. It has the attack speed on it finally. It doesn't have as much flat damage, so it's a little bit changed in that sense, but still a very strong item overall. And Stupi did pick up his Aegis of the Legion.
So what the hell has happened in this time? I don't know, honestly.
Me either.
Frankly, me
But
either.
Dragon is back up.
But it is 2-1 in turrets. Don't know where the second turret went. It went in the mid somewhere, and the Dragon is back up. Last we saw it, Dragon had only just been taken around, so we've lost kind of like 3 minutes of our lives here. But nevertheless, we are about to get underway. Pinkwood did get put down for Fnatic. They're going to rotate around and maybe try and push the bottom lane instead. EG are going to try and take on the Dragon. No, they're all going to back away. They're going, in fact, it's a rush. Fnatic going straight bottom turret.
Yeah, and they should be able to get this because EG really isn't positioned, but we do have Stupi, Elise, and Zed coming in from the side. They could be able to turn this around if they land some sort of CC here, and Fnatic had to be very careful.
Very strange as it is. Fnatic going to keep poking in there. We see the Oracle on Crepo clearing out them wards and Fnatic backing away here, trying to position, trying to maneuver. This surely means they feel actually in a straight-up fight, they may well be able to take Evil Geniuses here. The way they're kind of being the bullies here.
Well, they do have their ultimates up, Minus and Raiden, and we did see that first Dragon go over to EG after that skirmish, and EG's going to try to punish him here, maybe go for that straight push onto that mid turret as Wicked's already there, Froggen heading over as well, and looks like Fnatic is spotting that, trying to head back to the turret and defend that, because if they lose that, that is so much more crucial than losing that Dragon.
Dangerous times. They're going to have to go a really long way around, and I feel that this turret is going to go down before they get there. There it is. It's going to be dropped, and now we can see Cyanide come around. Spearfire comes down. Bang! Wall. You're not coming this way.
That's what's so deadly about having a Nivea on your team. If you're going to put yourself in a position like that, as Fnatic did, he can just wall you out. You're going to have to go around the backside the long way. You're going to lose that turret, and now it looks like they might lose their blue on top of that, so Froggen might get a reset. Actually, he did not. It went over to Wicked instead. I was going to say he might get a reset on that blue, but now Fnatic being aggressive, trying to push this mid lane, but I don't think they're going to be able to get anything out of this.
No, they're going to come across the side. They're going to have to be forced to run down river. Now they're going to try and pursue here. The acceleration gate was put down. Fnatic coming around the side. May well get out of position. If their ward goes down, they could try and catch on towards him. Crepo, of course, can leap through with that cocoon, see if he can get any closer. Blue buff was picked up, so they're not going to be able to take anything away from that one. And they are going to maneuver for the Dragon here. Jason, I'm not sure they're in the right position for this.
I don't believe they are either. I mean, EG, the Oracle that Crepo has gives them so much vision. They spotted Fnatic as they're running through the sides. And Fnatic have it very low right now. Looks like EG might try to commit here as the Dragon finally does reset. But you were mentioning earlier, Fnatic maybe feel like they were a little bit stronger in the fights. But with the CC, the vision they don't currently have right now because of Crepo taking it away, they feel a little hesitant.
But look at the lane positions. Look at the waves. You can see EG ready and waiting to go for this one. Top lane's completely shoved in. Minions pushing out. Mid lane's got minions starting to pump down it. Bot lane, you can see Pekka's had to go across there because he realized the same was about to happen there. And EG might just maneuver this one. They might go straight for an inhib.
They might actually give that up, but if Stupi is sticking on the side, just try to delay them as much as possible, which the Dragon keeps reset in. Wicked and Froggen, they're going to push that mid lane. They might be able to take this turret. Xpeke does have teleport to get in there if he needs to, as the bolt time comes down.
Well, you can see Pekka, he's pushing the bottom lane. The Dragon's still being fought over. The inhibitor turret's being switched on. Cyanide puts down his ghost, manages to pop it on towards Yellow. Pink does manage to get the Spirit Fire down. One more hit should do it. He does take him down. Finally manages to land the Q, and would you believe it, a slip from the caster.
But Fnatic, they're still not looking too healthy right now as they're trying to go for Dragon here. It's a great teleport out of Xpeke, but we'll see how it works out in the end.
The cocoon lands on towards Soaz, but they don't follow it up. And they did keep pressure. I'd love to see that in inhibitor turret. See how much actually they did manage to do on it. You can see Evil Geniuses are moving back for it once again.
It's about third life right now, Demon.
Backing away. It's about third life down. There's still a minion wave on there. I don't think they're going to go for it. Instead, it's going to be Wicked farming out that top.
But still, after that last crazy bit of action, we saw Fnatic's game plan in the end. They had a 3-man dive right on a Yellow Pete. He was forced to pull that cleanse. They have the slow out of Nunu. They have the slow out of Nasus. And they have the upfront damage out of Jace. He's not going to go anywhere, especially when you have the acceleration gate to chase after him. And Yellow Pete, he really doesn't have anyone to protect him. I mean, you really have to count on that wall from Froggen, but if you use that, you can't use it offensively and catch people off guard.
So just a 500 gold difference between them at the moment. 3-1 in turrets for Evil Geniuses. And it is surely anyone's game. It's a pretty lively one here between Evil Geniuses and Fnatic. Normally, they're a little bit slower pace in this one.
I feel like they're sitting there saying, hurry, guys, be as aggressive as you can before the internet goes down. Hurry, hurry, hurry.
We've got to finish this fast, guys. We've got to finish it fast. Maybe this is going to set the pace for the rest of the day. Who knows? Acceleration gate, shock blast coming straight back towards Snoopy. Didn't quite catch him at the max range. And the Dragon, it's still up.
Yeah, this is a really interesting position. It looks like Fnatic not really going to try to defend it here and take it, but if we did see Fnatic try, the thing is, if we did see Fnatic try to stop it, EG could go for that push on that mid lane yet again. The minion wave isn't pushed up as far, but Krepo with that Oracle still denying a lot of vision. EG should be able to take that, and yes, they do, and they might be able to turn this into a fight. I mean, Fnatic, they're not able to push that mid turret to kind of counter what EG just did.
They're pressuring on towards the turret, but they don't have Pete with them, so I'm not sure they've got enough damage to follow it through, and you can see that great big aura of damage they can throw down, try and catch people out, so as forced to back away. And now 5 members of Fnatic are in towards this mid lane. We do see a couple back in. Snoopy's having to back off it, so it's only going to be a 4-man defense for a short while, but we've seen so often with Froggen that Anivia, it can just stall out any turret attack.
Unfortunately, doesn't have blue buff this time just yet. Runic Bulwark was just completed on Snoopy at this point. Has the boots ability. Will be back there very soon, but just like you're saying, I mean, Froggen, he's able to defend that turret very easily. And with the way the items have developed a little bit, because we're starting to see a lot more team fights happen, is that Wicked with that Bleed of the Rune King, he's diving straight on a Yellow Star. He's trying to blow him up instantly, just like Fnatic is trying to do to Yellow Pete. So we'll see who can get that sort of edge. And I think I have to give it over to Zed, because he has that mobility to get in there.
Froggen's going to try and take away that blue buff, and just that massive aura, the Make It Rain and the Endeavor Ultimate, that's a huge area to just slow things down. A big area stun. And they can see the double up, the Rupture lands this time, and here comes Peke, finally come in, goes aggressive. Yellow Star does manage to take the turret down, but the bullet time's going to land across them all. Snoopy's going to get taken low. They do manage to get another kill there. It was I didn't even see who the heck it was that went down. Krepo taking incredibly low as well. It's going to be Fnatic piling on through here. It's a 2-for-1, and the rest of Evil Genius is forced to back away from that one. Peke, the only man down. Yellow Star just waiting for that creep wave to come in there, and they could pressure on the inner turret.
Holy crap, Fnatic just completely outplayed EG so hard right there, and that was all based on Expected going in. He went into the backside, everyone EG grouped up. We do have Sided actually overextending over to Wicked. He's trying to solo him.
Going full-on aggressive on towards Wicked, and he does solo him, walks in, hits him in the face with a great big pole, and says, thank you very much, that's all she wrote. Oh, and Raiden caught out by the turret. The turret hit will hit him. One more shot, but Froggen now, and Yellow Star tries to put him away. Will the burn be enough? Oh, and he eggs him into Rebirth. Nobody can follow it up, though.
You can't kill a cookie monster, even if those are minions and not cookies, but still, that last fight, off the back of that, we have to... Well, don't give me that look. He's a cookie monster. He's from Sesame Street. But anyways, that last fight, Expected, he jumped into the backside, and because of that, everyone EG turned around and started focusing him. But because of that, Yellow Star's ultimate came in and locked them down. It just held them there while Soaz could go in and get his damage in as well. Come on, don't leave me hanging, Demon.
Big Bird is not the cookie monster.
No. And Rated, he's a cookie monster. The skin.
Oh, I see where you're aiming at right now. Okay. I thought I was seeing the bird. I was thinking, what? Big Bird, yellow. No, he definitely doesn't do cookies. I mean, my knowledge of Sesame Street is not quite as it used to be, because I'm a little bit older than you, but wow, that's a stretch.
So there's a game going on.
It's a pretty lively game as well, if you have been missing it. But, and you know, I wouldn't blame you for missing it, because it's been played over the last 2 days, so it's been a long-running match right now. We are up to the 26-minute mark though, and we haven't seen attempted to reconnect just for a while. So
we're hoping. Say that?
We're hoping. Well, I'm not going to jinx it anymore, because we've already had just about everything happen that we can. Of course, the internet could completely go down, in which case I don't know what the hell will happen. But nevertheless, we are 11-8, 27 minutes coming up, and it's 2-3 in turrets. Fnatic just one behind, but they have the gold lead. They have managed to take that Dragon down, and more importantly, they've just absolutely demolished Evil Geniuses in the last team fight.
Yeah, Fnatic, they did such a great job of turning that aggression over to EG. I mean, I don't think EG really expected Fnatic to just engage right there, but because of Expected, it just created that whole opportunity. And Demon, look what you did.
Oh, well.
You tempted fate. I was going to knock on wood, too, to kind of maybe help, but we have the attempt to reconnect
on wood,
again.
But it was a little harder. It was like, ah! Full-on aggression. Oh, my life. What is going on today? Or this weekend? 5 weeks we've gone, ladies and gentlemen, without issue. And just 1 week. That's all it required to just... The 1 week that Jat comes in the country, we have a blizzard. The internet goes down.
I forgot about that.
I've changed hotels twice. I mean,
I
honestly,
stubbed my toe this morning. Everything's going wrong.
You both caught a cold. I just feel that there's a little bit of a plague headed into Europe this weekend, and I can't quite put my finger on what exactly it is. But we are hopefully going to maybe pass over to the analysis desk, but there's no reason at the moment. We're going to see if anything can come about from this one. What do we think? Let's just try and summarize the situation we're in as it stands, as the game only has 15 seconds left on the pause, which is a problem.
Yeah, what happens if it hits 0? I don't know.
Well,
we're going to find out in 7 seconds, though.
I think we're about to find out in 7 seconds' time. It's countdown, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone from the United Kingdom, it is going to unpause itself, but it is going to just get paused again, as far as I'm aware. Yes, it does.
Oh, now we have 120 minutes now.
120
Awesome.
seconds. That's because everybody left, I believe it is.
Yeah.
It's the auto pause that kicks in. So, nevertheless,
we can talk about how the game's progressed so far.
We can, but I'd prefer to do this with Chat and Quickshot because they are the analysis desk. They've had a chance to watch it through.
We have to be a little careful because if the players do take their headsets off, which they have been doing in these pauses, might be giving something away. But if they just recap, it should be good.
No, actually, I think they're just going to go. They're just going to go. They're saying, ready for me.
Oh, okay.
Yellow Star's reconnecting. And I think the players have actually said, it's good for me. I'm ready to go again.
I'm ready to go too,
they're not hanging around this time. They're ready for the action. Although we do see Dave talking to Peke, and Peke's like, shut up, I just want to get up with it.
So if you say that again, oh, the internet's working perfectly great, no attempting to reconnect, I think I might have to, like, duct tape your mouth.
They've paused it. They've paused it. So hopefully we're going to get back into the game in just a moment's time. They seem to be happy to play. Let's go. Yep. Everybody seems happy. And hopefully we'll see it on the screen in a moment. Maybe I can just cast it off Peke's screen. If the camera just tilts to the right a little bit, I could probably see what was going on. I can kind of see half the screen, the same as you guys. It looks like he's
going to buy. What is he going for?
Is he going for Sorcerer? He's got Sorcerer's Boots. He wasn't Mercury
He's had
Jets.
those already. Yeah.
Yeah,
he did. But Home Guard, I believe that was.
Yeah, he didn't want to buy 2 pairs of boots. He went for Home Guard instead.
Well, everyone knows you run faster with 1 boot than 2.
Yeah, and as it is, you do run faster. It's like having slippers. Switching to trainers, you kind of upgrade, and you can run a little bit quicker. But now we can see it on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is. And it does look like the bottom lane, actually. Bottom turret has gone down, but Wither on Sino's been baited into this one completely because Wicked and Froggen were ready and waiting. And he is going to go down. But the ultimate, brilliantly from Yellow Pete, trying to keep them at bay. But Fnatic all teleporting into this one. Snoopy's coming around the backside of the Fnatic. Have to run from this one. The Rupture's going to come out. The Rupture lands on 2 of them. And there's the silence. Will they follow it through? Cocoon? No! They flashed just at the right split second. And Fnatic get away with it.
I'm not sure if that was just me, but it looked like Snoopy missed the silence there.
No, he caught them both.
I didn't see the thingy thing.
The thingy. Also known as the silence cast bar type.
Yes, that one.
Icon.
But either way, we do have EG pushing up. That was a great turnaround by them. We had, Yellow Pete getting caught, but it was all a bait. They are going to push this turret down. They still have that middle inhibitor. Snoopy going in, getting jumped.
Snoopy going very aggressive, but just being hammered away by SOAS and saying, you will not pass. He manages to poke him straight back. And can they follow this through? The Rupture goes back down again. Peke's maneuvering for this. Peke is going to try and head them off in the river. He's coming around. Froggen is coming up there. Or is he just going to push them in?
Looks like he's going to push them in.
Damn it. What a build-up for nothing.
I believed you, Demon.
You believed.
I believed you. I believed it could have happened. But anyways, he did actually go for Distortion Boots instead. He wanted to go for the cooldown reduction on the Flash, the cooldown reduction on the actually, I believe it's just Teleport. If I'm not mistaken. Oh, it is Flash as well. So 25% reduced cooldown, so he can be around the map a lot quicker. He is heading towards that top side to go for some farm, but in the meantime, Fnatic looks like they were pushing up that bot lane.
This is a wild game, and honestly, I think it's probably because, I don't know whether it's because it's just everybody's just playing quickly. It's like we've got quick bursts of pace. They want to go quickly for the aggression, but the gold is very much even. 4-2 in turrets. Evil Geniuses with the slight advantages. Across the AD carries, you can see a 500 gold advantage to Yellow Star at the moment. SOAS has been caught out once again. He turns it around, goes aggressive, realizes he's dead, and the rest of the team are going to make their escape. But it does surely mean that Evil Geniuses will take the dragon.
Yeah, great pickup by them right there to kind of catch them off guard. They've been doing that this entire time so far, but Xpeke pushing up that top side. EG will take the 3rd dragon of the game now and back out. I'm curious if we're going to see any Home Guard boots defend that turret, but it's a cat arena. You can't really take down turrets extremely quickly.
But the problem is, I mean, it's effectively they've traded a dragon for a turret. They lost one person yet. He kind of got caught anyway, so he went for it. But the gold has stayed even. It's just 200 between the 2 teams, and they've managed to keep up. Let's have a recap across the AD carries, because you can see 305 Yellow Star has been doing a fantastic job. But as it stands, with the Blade of the Rune King and the Phantom Dancer, as my microphone just turns itself down.
Yeah, I was wondering, was that just me?
That wasn't just you, that was me as well. I was like, what the heck has just happened? And the BM sword. But Meanwhile, Yellow Pete, he's got the Bloodthirster, the Black Cleaver, and another BF sword. So he's all about that ulti.
Yeah, why not? I mean, he wants to get the extra damage, and he has the attack speed buff. If he kills one minion, he can easily, you know, get the extra oomph out of it, especially with the Fan Dancer. He needs to be able to kite the enemy team, especially Wicked, and with being able to move through the minions, that's going to help quite a bit. We do see the Mirror Mana now done on So, as the items are starting to develop quite a bit, but I still really think it's going to come down to who can burst the other team's AD carry quicker. Yellow Pete only has that cleanse to kind of escape here, but he has 3 men diving on top of him. But over on EG's side, Wicked is diving into the backside of Yellowstar, like we mentioned before, and they have a lot more protection in that sense. It's 1v1 in that situation, but with the items he has, he easily could take him down. But the game has progressed a little bit more. And Demon, I was kind of interested why, well, I was kind of thinking EG could have left Dragon up, or they could contest over Baron. And then by doing that, Fnatic will kind of send people up there, and they could go for a mid push as someone falls out of a chair.
It wasn't you this time, Jason.
It wasn't me this time.
It wasn't you this time. But these pesky chairs, damn them. But nevertheless, it is Fnatic starting to keep the pressure on. They are going to head up towards the top lane and see if they can drive forward. So, apologies, I'm trying not to laugh. It's not a funny situation, but it really is.
Good guy Trevor and Jat, though, getting up to help.
Oh, good guy Trevor and Jat. But it is Evil Geniuses are stacking around this top turret. They are going to try and push down, and look like Fnatic, yeah, they're trying to get the wards in towards that. Let's have a look. Have they got the oracles? N-Rated hasn't got one on. Crepo hasn't got one on, so they're not going to be able to spot those wards out just yet.
Okay, remember what we heard in the teams discussing against or playing against each other? We had EG talk about how Fnatic likes to split push. They're doing it right now with Xpeke, but EG is matching that by being really aggressive. They're starting to push these turrets as 5, and they're really forcing Xpeke to kind of react to this.
Well, he is reacting. He's pushing. The question is, will it be enough, though? He's going to get a lot of damage on towards that turret, but they are driving towards the inhibitor turret. He's going to have to react sooner or later. If they can land a good initiation, now I feel he's probably going to teleport in. They have a lot of the wards, remember, on them as escape routes, so he could go towards it. And Peke does take down the inner turret. He's going in towards the inhibitor.
Yeah, we need to see that Oracle come out, because then they can take that vision away from Baron. They can stop Xpeke from pushing by taking that as well. And no one is actually backing to deal with him at this point. They're just switching over to this mid lane, and Xpeke will have vision of that. Actually, sorry, when I say that, Wicked did go back and will be trying to defend that. No one with home guard boots just yet on EG's side to kind of prevent that. But Xpeke so far doing a great job of just forcing EG to be a little bit more defensive. They're really confusing them at this point.
I thought you were perhaps going to suggest that Wicked's just not man enough to deal with Peke.
He is.
Oh, he's more than
He's
man
taller
enough.
than me.
He is. He's a big lad.
He's like the biggest guy in esports, I think.
That's actually probably maybe true,
yeah.
I think he's a big guy. I don't know about in the whole of esports, but definitely in League of Legends, maybe. Nevertheless, let's talking about a man's prowess on stream, but Peke is again off split pushing. This is what he's been doing well, and he's actually out farming Froggen right now. Froggen is with the team, and Evil Genius is, I feel they're just going to pile down this mid lane. They realize that Peke is going along that top, but I think they're just going to drive straight down there. Crepo's picked up the Oracle.
Yeah, and we also do see 2 elixirs actually pop. Froggen already has that blue pot, and we see Wicked with the red. So it looks like they really want to force some sort of aggression here. We have Crepo going to be clearing out these Baron wards while Stupe and Froggen just start to push this mid lane. And remember, that inhibitor turret is already at a 3rd health at this point. They could pretty much man mode it down if they want to. But looks like Xpeke will head down towards that bot lane yet again just to keep pushing, and he's doing it. It's given him a lot of good items at this point, too. I mean, he has that Deathfire's Grasp. He has the Abyssal Scepter done on top of that. He has the ability to go in and force EG to burst him down while Yellowstar follows up with that ultimate. And it might work out for them in the end.
432 ability power right now on the bird of Froggen. So he's going to be doing a lot of damage. A very different build from what we used to see, although that Giant Spire has gone in there now. I think he's going to go for a Ryler's there, probably, maybe? Who knows?
Mormogs.
Well, I mean, he has got Mormogs a number of times in the past, way before they were popular.
Yeah.
He is the ultimate hipster.
He's the ultimate hipster. And I wouldn't be surprised, but the thing is, they're not really going for him. That's what I'm really interested in, is that they're going for Yellow Pete every time. They want to kill him. They have the exhaust on N-rated. We have to talk about that a little bit, because they have to pop that on Wicked right when he goes in. If they can get that on him before that ultimate goes off, or before he starts that ultimate, you'll just pretty much minimize his damage completely, and Yellowstar will be able to 1v1 him with that Blood Boil and with that Ice Blast.
So right now, it seems that Crepo obviously is... Last hit on the ward, guys. You might take it down. They are in ward clearing territory, clearing out that Baron. And again, like you mentioned, taking away that vision, preventing Peke having the freedom to just keep split pushing, having full vision of the map. So Fnatic going to have to regroup, change their tactics. I guess they've probably gone and got an Oracle of their own, I would suspect. I'm going to wait and see if N-Rated pops onto the screen. No, he does not have it, actually. just yet. So still, it's all about Evil Geniuses clearing everything out. Fnatic may get caught out of position here. Oh, I thought Crepo was going to come around and cocoon on towards Cyanide. He may well do. Throws it out, but Cyanide dodges out. Had to use all of his abilities to dodge around that one, but does not get caught.
You know, as Jat
and does a taunt as well, I think, back in off there.
Well, why not? As Jat and Quickshow were talking about during one of the, I think, 2 or 3 breaks we've had so far, you know, you have Jace. He has that ultimate at level 1. He has, you know, well, his form of his ultimate, so he's going to be very dominant in the lane phase. But when it comes to team fights, he's not going to be as strong. He can poke you down, and that's always going to engage.
And Peke goes in, but he gets exhausted straight away, and the Rebel comes out. That's going to be the bullet time, and Rage is going to get a full pop there. And Crepo is taken very low. It's support versus support. It does also Froggen. He catches out. Peke goes down to Wicked. You can see the damage from Wicked. He's just driving down on towards Soaz, forcing him away. Meanwhile, back at the top there, Cyanide, he's trying to run for it, but the rest of the team, oh, and he catches in the rupture and feasted on by Snoopy, and they turn towards the Baron. I think they may just take the blue buff as well, and just take everything from him, to be honest, because they got 3 for 0.
And just as we're talking about, you know, the team fight presence of Jace, you see right there why EG just took advantage of that. They engaged hard. Wicked went straight into that back line, and because he exhaust, I believe it wasn't used on, actually I believe it was used. No, it was used on Yellow Pete, but he cleansed. And because it wasn't used on him, he was able to go to town on them 1 by 1 and pick up those kills. We had Froggen backing up as well with the slows, with the stuns, and with that damage he can put out. They will be taking the Baron off of this, and they have a nice little bit of a lead here.
So it is going to be the Baron. The inhibitor went down. Actually, tell a lie, the inhibitor didn't go down. The turret just went down, not the inhibitor. And there is the Baron.
He's like walling them in, scumbag Froggen.
Froggen walls his entire team in. What a scumbag.
I was looking at Dominion where you wall them in when you're trying to run out of the base. It's pretty funny, but still. In the end, we have a Randuin's actually picked up for Wicked, so he has that built-in slow from the Blade of the Rune King when he uses the active. He has the slow from the Randuin's right behind that, so he's going to stick to his target. And that might force Yellowstar to actually use his ultimate on him, and if you do that when Wicked's already separated from his team, it's kind of a wasted ultimate.
So Runic Bulwark also picked up by Snoopy, of course, prevented. And we saw Peke, he was the first man in. He really shouldn't do that, especially when there's a rupture. You know, there's a stun from Froggen, there's Crepo could possibly get the cocoon on you. There's all sorts of different things. Yeah, the silence. There's so many different interrupts. It kind of surprised me that he was the initiator.
It seemed like he was trying to do what happened the last major team fight we saw break out in the mid. He tried to bait everyone at EG to group up so that Var's ultimate could come in and they can just pretty much attack them. Yellow P, great positioning by him, though. He was able to pretty much kite that Nasus, kite Jace as well, and even Enrated, who went straight for him. He was able to do that, and because of that, because they didn't kill him, you had Wicked and Froggen cleaning up.
We do see the red buff going across towards Yellow Star. Dragon was picked up by Evil Geniuses, and they will push down this bottom lane. Top lane has been shoved out. Soaz just did that. So Fnatic are going to be ready and waiting, but it's a Baron up. Evil Geniuses coming around there, and immediately we see the wards. They need to be put out there because Snoopy can quite clearly just go around the backside, despite the fact he is a huge
great wall
right now. It is the Great Wall of Froggen, but it's not going to be enough.
And something really interesting is that the 80 carries, if you look at them, there's a huge 60 CS difference in them. There's only 1 extra kill over to Yellow Pete, but look at his items. He has Infinity's Edge, the Bloodthirster, and the Black Cleaver going straight damage. But because of what Froggen's doing right now, he forced Yellowstar to go into that Negatron Cloak, go even into a Ruby Crystal to really make him play defensive. So EG, because they're being so aggressive, like the best defense is a good offense, pretty much is exactly what they're doing.
The best offense is a good defense.
No, the best defense is a good offense.
Banshee's Veil was being picked up by Yellow Star, and well, he's kind of needed that. So he's got the Phantom down to the Bloodthirster and the Blade of the Rune King. So there's a lot of damage from Yellow Star if he's allowed to get onto them. But look at Yellow Pete. He doesn't give a monkeys about attack speed. He's gone pure damage there with Infinity Edge, the Bloodthirster, and the Black Cleaver, and I have to be honest, he has landed that bullet time very well.
Yeah, he's really counting on that to be his real damage, his real contribution to these team fights. And after that, he's pretty much just up to kiting, because if he cleanses off that Ice Blast and the Wither, if they don't really time it perfectly, then he'll be able to escape and he'll be able to kite them and kill them in the end. But still, he's getting around that fact. If he doesn't get away, at least he has that bullet time to put that damage down, and Wicked and Froggen can clean it up.
So Evil Genius is making their moves around, going up towards the top lane. Top lane. Let's see if they can try and catch anyone in the jungle, but I don't think Fnatic are going to fall for this one. They haven't got a Darien that's going to go roaming and just stroll in, which he has done now and again. And it is going to be the top wave. And look, there's hoping they can see Soaz. He's just cleared out, shoved out that mid lane. Bot lane shoved well out, so it's obvious that Evil Geniuses are going to go for this top inhibitor, and Fnatic ready and waiting for it.
Isn't that kind of interesting, though? Because they have the middle inhibitor open to take, and yet they want to go for turret instead, which kind of makes sense when you have the Baron, but we do have them trying to siege down this turret. They're already doing a good chunk of damage to it. With that wall from Froggen, they're really zoning Fnatic away, and they might be able to lose this turret if EG keeps this up, because they have that Baron regen, they have the damage they need. It's just all about that positioning, and Froggen, we know how well he plays. He always creates the perfect positioning for your team.
Well, we'll see if he does exactly the same again. It's only going to take another 2 or 3 of those walls and altars and everything just to block the path there. You can see the Ice Blast comes out, tries to zone them out. Rupture comes in. Cyanide does get caught for it. There is the ultimate. They're just completely zoning it, and look at the damage on that turret. It's almost already down, and they're just making use of this Baron buff.
And that Misfortune has some giant ogres right there, because he was sitting in the front of his team just attacking that turret away when Cyanide was right next to him. Could have withered, and they could have went for a hard engage off of that. But still, I mean, he's potentially trying to bait them into that fight because of it.
We are seeing that turret almost down. Shock Blast comes out. I don't think, Fnatic realize they're going to have to defend it. What a great wall again there. They're going to come around. Look at the aura from Evil Geniuses, just keeping everybody at bay. Fnatic do clear out the wave, but it's only a matter of time, surely, before this turret goes down. They are making the final push. The Varus ultimate comes out, but he got cleansed off. He does manage to come out and snares on towards Froggen. Froggen taken very low, but Yellow Pit starts mainly Cocoon. The turret survived, but very, very barely. But they are walking blindly into this jungle. I don't think they're going to follow through. You can see they're going for the blue buff as well. They're going to steal that away, and they've backed off.
Yeah, that turret actually survived with about 3 health total, so now they have 2 lanes to actually access when they want to go for it. They just hit that turret once, have both inhibitors open, and I'm trying to think, is that when they're trying to do that siege, I think the real engage could be out of Froggen. If he gets a nice wall off, you're pretty much controlling the area that they run into, and if you follow that up with the bullet time, you're pretty much hitting that target guaranteed the entire duration. That could be the opportunity for EG to pounce on it, but with Baron coming up in about a minute and a half, that will be the next big contesting point.
And it just shows the pure safety of play that Evil Geniuses, despite the fact they're talking about that solo queue mentality, that aggression, they've still got it in them, because the split second that Baron buff wore off, they all backed away, despite the fact that turret only had pretty much basically a warm breath from Yellow Pete to get near it, and it would have gone down.
Well, the thing is, we're 43 minutes in, they're only up 3,000 gold, so it's not a huge lead for them at this point. They obviously could still lose the game, so, just playing a little safe, playing a little passive. They do have a lot of money on their side. We have Krepo, I believe he has a total of, 8,000 gold, and he is able to pick up those oracles, which he's been running this entire game, and really just giving them the vision they need to win these fights. They had a lot of vision on that top side, while Fnatic had it towards the bottom side, so a little bit misplaced on Fnatic's end, but still, 58 seconds, Baron coming up. And EG, I mean, they aren't really poised to take it just yet as they're pushing that bottom turret. Xpec's still trying to split push, but it's just, it's not working anymore.
It is not working anymore. He needs to get involved, but it's not really the setup that a Katarina can go diving into, because he has to wait for all of them cooldowns. I mean, try and bide his moment to get in and get that ultimate Death Lotus spinning away and try and catch the team out, but they are ready and waiting for it. They're not falling for it right now, Evil Geniuses. They have the upper hand, they have the control. The bottom wave is going to push itself, the top wave is going to push itself, and Fnatic, they realize they're going to have to try and do something, because that Baron will be up in 20 seconds time.
And I like the wards actually have down to stop Fnatic from trying to go over towards that Baron. You saw them, not poised to kind of protect it or set down wards or set up that entire fight. That's because they had good ward coverage. They knew where Fnatic was going every way. And Xpec down at that bot lane yet again. He has a teleport available, but, with the top turret having 3 health, I think it'll be too late before he even gets in there.
I think somebody forgot to tell Evil Geniuses about their new fast play, because we're approaching the 50-minute mark. It's not surprising. So what are Fnatic going to do? Peke's shown himself down the bottom. He has got teleport available. The ward has been quickly chucked in there, and they thought about maybe trying to drive forward through the middle, but I don't think they're strong enough when it comes to a team fight right now. EG have the upper hand in the open.
Well, they have an Oracle, so they could clear out all the coverage on that top side for Fnatic, and off of that, just backdoor the turret and potential inhibitor. But Xpec, he's still pushing up. They actually, almost catch and rated right there.
They did catch the stun and the damage on towards him. Didn't manage to land at the same time, but the inhibitor turret is being poked now. Peke's getting up towards that one. He's clearing out the siege minion wave, and no, Evil Geniuses are reacting to
no
this
one has home guards.
Everybody's going back. You can see it's going to be backing off. Is that going to open up Fnatic, though? They have gone towards that middle turret. Look at the damage he's already done on towards that turret. Now he's backing off, but the middle turret is now open. The inhibitor in the mid lane has been opened up. They're getting the damage on towards that. Fnatic have really tactically moved this one well, but Evil Geniuses are going to react to it. There's the Spiderlings coming out there. That's half the damage coming off the other side. They thought about going towards Frog and a flash out from N-Rated. It is going to be Cyanide getting caught out, but the Virus Ultimate turns back around. The acceleration gate. Here comes Peke. Is he going to get caught? No. He was demolished there. Bullet time reigns across the entire team. Cyanide gets dropped now with Fnatic are running, scurrying away. But Crepo, he's going to be able to jump towards it. Wicked goes in, goes aggressive, but immediately they turn it around. They pop him down. Yellowstar takes him down. And now Frog is thinking of pursuing. It's currently a 3-on-3. Can they chase it through? Everybody else has backed off. Snoopy's had to back away. Soon there's minions all over the inhibitor of Fnatic's top lane, though.
And holy crap, in that last fight, you saw Expected pull an amazing move. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. He got walled out from Froggen, but he popped a ward right over it, hopped over on that other side, and just tried to get in there and do the damage. The top turret did finally fall when we only had that 3 health. And EG, they're setting up right now for Dragon. That bullet time out of Yellow Feet was so spot on. It was so perfect, and it won them that fight.
I tell you what, if they don't deal with that bottom lane wave, there's going to see a massive wave coming in there, will take that turret down, because that turret has got next to nothing left. As it stands, the bottom inhibitor for Fnatic, the top inhibitor, sorry, for Fnatic has been cleared out.
Baron's going so slow.
EG are going really slow because they have main damage dealers, aren't there? And you can see Yellow Pete is in there, but they can't tank it. They've realized it. They're going to have to back across. But look at Yellowstar. Yellowstar is heading towards that bottom inhibitor turret. He realized, he mentioned it's very, very low. Going to try and steal the blue buff away as they choke up.
Yeah, instead of going that, didn't have full vision. They actually do spot where he is with that rupture, but still he will skate, taking that blue buff away from Frog, and he currently doesn't have one, and it's his cooldowns, his mana, the mana he's been retaining because of the blue has been so crucial in all the sieges they've done so far. Without that now, we have a little bit of a tougher time, but we saw Baron just not dying. I mean, we had Yellow Pete. He didn't go any sort of attack speed as he finally has that seal. He has quite a bit of damage, but he attacks so slow it doesn't really do too much. And EG, they looked so hectic in that last fight because all Expected did was just push that bot lane and really force them to react to him.
Jason, 10 minutes ago, Evil Geniuses were all over Fnatic. They were all over the jungle, had all of the buffs taken away, but Fnatic have tactically positioned, again with the split push of Peke, which he's doing right now. So they're going to have to deal with this one. You can see he's coming down there. He is going to take that turret down, but he's teleporting back. He realizes Evil Geniuses, they're going for that middle open exposed inhibitor.
And the only thing EG has to stop him from split pushing is to send Froggen out against him to really stun him. But you need Froggen for these fights. The inhibitor is going to be taken down most likely here as Fnatic is finally backing away. But still, Expected pushing that top side. That turret is definitely going to fall here as it only has 400 health left. But they are moving towards the top turret as well. Top inhibitor.
It's an inhib for an inhib right now, but it could well be 2. There's going to be Evil Geniuses. They do get the second one. Can they try and put something off here? Cyanide's going to go in. Has popped his ultimate. Froggen, sorry, Yellowstar has gone down. Yellow Pete, sorry, he's gone down. Yellowstar manages to get the kill out towards him. Wicked's going to go out towards Cyanide. Cyanide taken very low. He does go down. It's a 2-for-1 exchange though, and Evil Genius is, well, they're continuing to push. Fnatic is on the inhibitor. He's taking that down. He's on the Nexus turrets right now. He's pushing on. Evil Geniuses are being prevented from going back. You can see Yellowstar. He's about to get towards the blue bush at the moment, and you can see Froggen can't go back. He's being forced away. That's one Nexus turret down. You can see Snoopy's back there, and Peke has run away. So really, who gained the advantage? 2 inhibitors down. By Evil Genius has managed to get it. They're going towards Baron. They may get this one, Jason.
And Snoopy doesn't have home guard boots to really stop it because Expected is keeping him there. He's forced him to deal with him because if he doesn't, they're going to lose the Nexus turret and potentially lose the game. Baron is being taken down pretty quickly right now. Crepo and Froggen are sticking around to try to stop it.
The wall being used to get vision there. The acceleration gate comes across. Crepo gets full vision of it. He does have to repel, but he can't go in for this one. Can they throw anything out? Can they try and steal it? No! Because the Consume comes out from N-Rated, and Fnatic now have the Baron buff. Wow, this game is so close. Teetering on the edge. 7-7 in kills in sort of turrets. 14-16 in terms of kills. 71.5 to 68.5. 2 inhibitors down for Fnatic. 1 inhibitor down and a Nexus turret down for Evil Geniuses. Good lord, you can cut the atmosphere with a knife.
And that all started because the position on that top inhibitor for EG. Fortunately, LP did get caught. He got exploded right there because he wasn't building any health items. He wasn't building defensive at all, going straight aggression. Once he was dead, they pretty much just piled on him, and Expected just hammered away. He didn't even participate in that fight, and yet they still won 4v5. And now with this Baron up, with 1 Nexus turret being down, as long as they keep these lanes pushed out, they could easily just go straight in there and win the game.
And I've got to give credit to Yellowstar because every single team fight, he has managed to find Yellow Pete. Somehow, some way, he's managed to work his way in, and get that hit on towards Yellow Pete. The question is, will he be able to do it again? Fnatic pushing up that mid lane. They're going to drive forward. That Oracle on towards Enradied. It's a 5-man push this time. No split pushing around. They have the Baron buff, and they're going to come straight towards Evil Genius's base.
And that turret's already low at this point. Froggen doesn't have blue buff. That is a key point. I cannot stress that enough. Fnatic can just siege away at this with that Baron buff on them. However, their top lane is pushing against them. They have to be very quick here if they want to make a play.
They are going to see that super minions fighting against them, fighting against everything here. And they have to be so worrisome about the amount of crowd control that Evil Geniuses can put out, and immediately they're backing out because there is big wave of super minions on that top lane.
They got 3 of them right now pushing into their base, and this could be very bad. As there we go. They are going to back away. They're going to play a little bit safe here, knowing that they did take that Baron away. I'll just expect. Oh, yeah, because he can teleport in still. He's had that up for quite a while. And with Yellow Star, they should be able to see just turret down, especially with that Blood Boil.
But they've got, you can see Zoaz as well. They're going to catch on towards him. Snoopy's going to try and catch the Rupture. Does throw it down, but a great slow from Yellow Star keeps them all at bay. And they're actually delaying them here. Peke's like, no, it's okay, guys. I got this covered. I got it. Despite the fact I'm being taken very low by these super minions, I will clear them out with that Leandris, keep them burning. And Evil Geniuses are being maneuvered here, being positioned by Fnatic.
And Wicked's still trying to push down that top side with that super minion. That's a good job by Fnatic to really back off. I mean, they are kind of the masters of the game at this position, where you see them against SK so many times, winning the game from seemed like certain defeat. And they're still keeping that 4-man push on the mid lane. They have Soaz, who, with the Warmogs, Mirror Mana, Last Whisper, and Black Cleaver, he really sets up Yellow Star for his damage because of the armor pen they're going to get off that shred they have. And you have Cyanide, who can get into the back line of the team with that Ghost, and with that Random, it's just completely shut down the movement speed out of EG, which they're going to need. They need to stay a little bit mobile here to really get out of that Varus ultimate.
Jason, this is going to come down to one big team fight, and it's going to happen very, very soon. Who, in terms of items, positioning, crowd control, damage, has the upper hand right now? Because we're at the 52-minute mark. We know one big team fight will end this.
I think if done right, now that Froggen has blue buff, they should have that control. They have the that wall to really lock them in. They could catch someone off guard, especially if you get Cyanide when he doesn't have that flash. But if Fnatic can pile onto the right target, they can blow them up so quickly. And it all depends on how quick Xpeke does get there. But it just seems like Fnatic, they're just keeping the mid lane pushed up while letting Xpeke push that top lane and really, you know, keep that minion wave, the super minion wave, from getting into their base.
They've done such a good job, you know, the realizing that the split push is on and just keeping people there. It's like, no, fighters, fight. No, really, fighters. No. I'll go on. Oh, all right then.
Well, it's really hard to engage on them when they have the Shurelys, they have acceleration gate, which you see right there. They're so hard to catch at this point. Snoopy can't land a Rupture. He's going to have to flash to go for it, or Froggen's going to have to land an amazing wall to set up the entire play.
So the inhibitor of Fnatic is about to spawn. So both of those will come up pretty much within the same time. But we do see Peke, Cyanide, also coming all up towards his top turret. There's Peke, puts a burst down on towards Wicked. Wicked forced away from this one. Yellow Star's going to come around as well. All inhibitors respawning now. Mid and top both spawn for Fnatic. Evil Geniuses will follow in about a couple of seconds. And they all go back to standing as normal. Baron buff, I think, is just about worn off. Yeah, it's gone off now completely from Fnatic. So everybody is back to situation normal. Wow. I don't know where to take this one, where this is going to go, because this is really such a close game. We're still just 4,000 gold. Fnatic with that gold advantage, with the turret advantage now for the first time in a long time.
I think
I'm going to back off.
I think it's going to be towards the Baron yet again. I mean, it's going to be up at about 2 minutes at this point. But the thing is, the last time it happened, you had Xpeke split pushing the entire time. He was able to get that turret, able to get the inhibitor off of that as well. They can afford to do that as long as they get the wards down that they need. They have to protect that Baron side, and if they do, they can keep baiting EG in and then backing off with their great disengage they have and let Xpeke just be such a nuisance in the bottom or the top right now.
So Evil Genius is stacked up. They realize they've cleared out the waves. Unless there's a teleport, which Peke is going to save until he gets back. You can already see him. He's at the golems and he's thinking, should I go for that bottom lane or should I come across and deal with this Evil Genius threat that's pushing straight in towards my inhibitor?
And you see Yellow Star, he actually picked up the Mercurial Scimitar. I can never say it right. I probably didn't say it right anyways in the end. But building a lot of magic resistance at this point. He set at 163 because he doesn't want to get bursted by Froggen.
Well, they are going to go for this one. Inhibitor is exposed. It is going to go down, and now you can see Peke coming in. They're trying to catch on towards Snoopy. The Varus ultimate from Yellow Star goes down, but the bullet time hits nothing. It's whiffed, and that may well be the advantage. The signal can go for it. The repel comes out, but he's got nowhere to go to, and he just has to get dropped by Soaz. So that's straight away. A 1-for-0. Wicked's going to turn out towards Peke. Peke just going to burn that damage. Zonya's hourglass goes down. It is going to be just off the side. Soaz picks up a double kill. Yellow Star's going to go down. Yellow Pete goes down. Sorry, not Yellow Star. He's on the other team. He's the man doing the chasing on towards Brogan.
They have minions on the bottom inhibitor.
Minions are on the bottom inhibitor. The one inhibitor down for Fnatic, but they are going to drive straight through that middle. They could finish the game here, Jason. They could get straight into the base. This turret has nothing on it.
And they have 60 seconds left on EG at this point. It's a 5-on-2 at the situation. It's just Frog to kind of hold them off with one Nexus turret up. With Super Minions pushed into the base, Fnatic might be able to close this out.
They are going to drive through it. They've only got that one Nexus turret. Here comes Yellow Star, full hit points. Froggen is after going to have to pull on every single little bit of skill he's got here. He's going to come around and Rated tries to poke them out. The Nexus turret goes down. The spawns are a long way off. They're going to get on towards the Nexus turret. They hammer in Snoopy. They're on towards the Nexus. And Fnatic take it down. And 17-16. What a crazy game. 56-minute game length there. And what do you expect when Evil Geniuses are involved? But it's Fnatic to come out on top.
And Fnatic being down for what, a good 35 minutes in that entire game, coming back from the brink of defeat is such a great play out of them. Overall, every team fight they went for is because they wanted it, because they had that strong disengage and engage if they needed. And overall, just Fnatic now going 2-0 against EG in the LCS.
The irony for me is Evil Geniuses had that chaos control. They had those two inhibitors they were pushing down. And it seemed to be that moment when the Baron just wore off, they backed away from the fight. They just kind of doubted themselves, and they slipped back into the old CLG style.
And they had no answer for Xpeke, just backdooring. That's what won in the game, because he kept doing that.
So we are going to get over towards the analysis desk. You can see the players, Fnatic congratulating each other, and then...
After a 2-day-long game.
A 2-day-long game. It was a long game of League of Legends, but thankfully no other problems arose, and we did have an epic, epic finish to that game. Let's get over to Quick Shot. And Jat, you've seen them many times this morning already, but let's see what they actually thought about the game for once.
Thank you for that one. It was a very, very exciting game. And you know, Jason, you pretty much summarized it right at the end there. 35 minutes of that game, Evil Geniuses were in control. They had map presence, they had vision, they had tower advantage, they had a very small gold advantage, but they were setting the tone of the game up until they got expected.
And the weirdest thing about this game, because Fnatic just likes to split push the entire time, and we'll get to that in a bit, how they just overpowered EG with map presence, but since this game had so many technical difficulties, we actually want to do a replay of a very early team fight, just to kind of show you guys how it got there, because if you stayed here the whole time, I applaud you.
It's a 2-hour game.
It's been 2.5 hours since we really started this game, so we do have a team fight at about 11 minutes and 30 seconds.
Well, let's actually jump into this team fight. It is a play that Fnatic initially set up. They went very, very aggressive on the bottom lane, continue to push up into the Evil Geniuses territory. You can see there, 2-1 on kills, 14.5k to 14.6k. It's as even as it is going to be. But the Evil Geniuses do turn around. So, Jet, talk us through this one.
So the big thing you can notice here is it's actually a 3v2 for Fnatic. Cyanide spent about 30 seconds in this brush just hoping Krepo goes for a stun. And as you can see right here, he does go for the stun for release. So the fight is about to break out here. You can see they counter with the Verisol, and this fight's going to go on for a while because as all this is happening, you can see Peke just teleported in. Going to pull up the HUD one more time, and now you realize it's a 3v3. Yellow Pete's running away. Krepo's down here. So this is a very, very chaotic fight, just like most of the game was. Krepo pretty much gets finished down, and then the chase kind of gets on. Fnatic looks like they're going to take down the turret, but they're taking so long to finish Yellow Pete. If I pause it one more time, pull up the minimap, you can see Snoopy and Froggen are about to chase them down, right? So this
should they have backed away at this point?
Our long and arduous chase. I think they should have, but the problem was, look at this. Cyanide still has the turret, and he's low, and he's on the wrong side of the turret, right? So he's probably going to die anyway. If we play this and just watch poor Cyanide try to run away, Snoopy is tracking him, as you can see on the mini-map down here. Knows he's in that brush. He's pinging. Cyanide actually does a great job to juke out of the rupture, does the fake back, runs all the way down, and he's the one who actually prolongs this. He makes his team think, okay, maybe we have more people in this area. Maybe we can hold this one off. But we're about to see one of the coolest plays ever. Cyanide gets killed. Froggen's holding off Xpeke. And I'm going to pause it and move this to half speed, as well as drop the Fog of War vision if I can get my hotkeys going. I missed the Fog of War. Here we go. Wicked ults Xpeke before he flashes over the wall in order to get the kill. Long story short, Quick Shot, we don't know what's going on in this fight because it didn't have too much impact in the game, but it was just a really crazy fight that we wanted to highlight to
part of the reason we show that particular replay is that's what the entire game was like.
Yeah.
You know, we kept sitting there and we're like, well, what are we going to use for a replay? Because we had these little skirmishes and these little trades where loads of things would happen, but it wouldn't be completely game-changing because it would be EG that would make the play first, then it would be Fnatic, then it would be EG. There's one particular fight, I'm looking at my notes here, around about 41 minutes on the clock. No, 36 minutes on the clock. Fnatic, they started a bit of a split push. Peke was in the bottom lane. He shoved the wave all the way up to the turret. Then started to come back middle as Cyanide got caught out by a Cocoon. And they sort of went, okay, well, we're sort of caught. And Fnatic got, well, let's re-engage because Cyanide had been hit, forced to use his ultimate. He goes back in. Peke comes in from the side. And there was literally this, like, about-turn move from Evil Geniuses where they just stopped. Blew up Peke instantly. I mean, he got, like, half a second off on his Death Lotus. They immediately killed him, and then Evil Geniuses just turned and rampaged down the mid lane.
Yeah, it was the craziest game because all that stuff never really gave the game away.
Yeah.
There were always close fights. They were always trading objectives, and I think that was the big thing that Fnatic managed to do is they kept the split push going. And that's actually one of the things that Yellowstar does well for Fnatic is he sits in the back while they're split pushing because the last thing you want to do while you're split pushing is get caught. And because Yellowstar stayed so far in the back, we actually decided he's our MVP.
Yeah, that's it. MVP does go to Yellowstar. He had a very, very good game towards the, at the later the game went, he got more and more powerful. Did build Banshee's Veil, did build Mercurial Scimitar, so a little bit defensive, but it was all up to that positioning. Having a Blood Boil from Nunu as well helps a lot to stay kiting, to stay away from the ruptures and the silences and everything else that could go down. But very, very well played to Fnatic. It was a very exciting, close game. I believe that Shox is on stage, ready to interview one of the members from Fnatic.
Thank you. I'm here with Soaz. Now, Soaz, by the end of the game, you guys were down in kills, down in objectives, and you still pulled through. So what did it come down to?
Basically, we had 2 AD, which is Jace and Varus, plus Nunu, so we had really good late game, and we knew that we will be able to focus the tanks like Shogat or whatever late game. So that's what we did, and we just started a fight. When they were running back, we just ultimate Shogat and killed him instantly, then we could chase them.
Okay. Talk about your experience in the top lane. Before the game, I saw Wicked tweeting, I hope Soaz mans up so I can be 1 versus 1, but they lane swapped on you and put a lot of pressure on your lane.
Actually, during the pause, I was telling him go bot lane, and he was telling me go top, so I went top. But I was able to go top anyways, and he was bottom, so we are like running around. It's funny.
Okay, great win here for you guys because you didn't have the best experience at the Intel Extreme Masters. Well, EG didn't either, and SK didn't either. What do you think is the cause of the fact that these teams didn't perform that well there?
I think that we had enough practice for IM, but like no one prepared for it. We had like 1 day off after Super Week, so we didn't really know what the other team will play. Like we got cheesed by Millennium and we had no idea or stuff like that. So I think it was our fault, but we could prepare better.
Okay, thank you very much, Soaz. Now, as for us, we're going into a short break in just a second, but I'd like to remind you of our Twitter question for today. Which champion has had the greatest impact on the LCS so far and why? Tweet us your answer at LOL eSports, hashtag LCS. The same for any questions you may have for our casters or analysts. Now, going into a quick break, but when we come back, it's going to be the Dragonborns coming up against SK Gaming, and we're going to have a talk with a special guest at the analyst desk, so don't go anywhere.